What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 5TG Chapter 101 The Ever-changing Show. Garp strives to protect the Golden Lion, put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. It's come to this point, can't the Golden Lion be solved? Seeing the Golden Lion approaching Zoro, Sikong Ye was full of resignation, and immediately wanted Venom to display the rubber 3rd level Titan form. Master, I haven't mastered the rubber 3rd gear Titan form. Hearing Venom's answer, Sikong Ye's heart sank slightly. From the moment he told Marine about the Golden Lion's information, he started plotting to seize the Golden Lion's lion fruit, body, shadow, soul and all, treasure. However, seeing that success is only one step away from Sikong Ye, it seems like the next day. Even Zoro has to pay. And once Zoro loses out, their entire Ziwe pirates will be subject to Golden Lion, and it will be really messy. Snapped. Golden Lion scattered the tornado with one punch, stretched out his hand to pinch Zoro's slender neck, and lifted it up like a chicken. At this time, Zoro was covered in scars and fell into a coma completely. The Senbonzakura in his mouth fell to the grass due to the loss of bite force, and the 2 knives in his hand were tightly clenched. Tisk tisk, it's a good seedling. After making a brief comment, Golden Lion picked up the dropped Senbonzakura and looked at it, his eyes lit up. This knife is also very good, and it is no different from those supreme sharp knives. Seeing that Garp is getting closer, Golden Lion doesn't intend to stay in ink, and will immediately fly away from this group of floating sky islands that have been staying for nearly 10 years. As for IQ research, if it is gone, it will be gone. Anyway, there is a supreme sharp knife as compensation, and it is not a loss. And those subordinates are even more worthless. Who is he, the Golden Lion, who raises his arms in the sea, and some pirates join his command? Gia ha ha ha. Garp, if you want to chase me, wait for your next life. Venom Cannon. Just as Golden Lion was floating towards the sky, Venom suddenly called out the name of a set of moves. The left hand supported the right hand, and the black matter in the right hand turned into a muzzle aimed at the Golden Lion. Call out. Just as Venom's hoarse and thick voice fell, the muzzle blasted a dark cannonball towards Golden Lion. Golden Lion had noticed Venom's actions long ago, turned his body slightly, smiled and said to Sikong Ye, "White-haired boy, I will teach you a lesson today, don't call out the name of the move when you sneak attack." The black cannonball brushed against Golden Lion's shoulder and passed by. Just as Golden Lion was about to burst into a disdainful smile like an orange blossom, he froze instantly. It's like the screen freezes while watching a live broadcast. Although it was only a moment, Sikong Ye captured it very keenly. The reason why Golden Lion was stunned was because he sensed danger behind him through his knowledge, and that danger made him unable to avoid it. Boom! There was a loud noise, and the cannonball just now exploded into countless black particles. Some of these black particles stick directly to the Golden Lion. The lion fruit ability failed again, and the Golden Lion, which had already flown into the air, had to step on the moonwalk to maintain its balance. Damn brat, your trick is useless to me. Golden Lion burst into arm color again, isolating the Venom, and then stepped on the moonwalk and flew into the sky without looking back. He can't go if he doesn't go this time. Garp is only one step away from him. If he doesn't go, maybe he really can't go. Fortunately, the hostages have been taken. Golden Lion suddenly discovered that Zoro in his hand was covered with a layer of black substance at some point, and the head slowly evolved into the head of Venom. Is it a surprise? Is it a surprise? The Venom made a joke, and the next moment he manipulated Zoro's body to display the ever-changing Teigu. Seeing that the knife made of silk thread in Zoro's left hand suddenly disintegrated into strands of thin thread, binding Golden Lion's legs together. Golden Lion felt uncomfortable, but no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't break free from those silk threads. Teigu Ever-changing Cross-Tail is an extremely strong linear Teigu. It can be opened as a barrier, or to detect the enemy's barrier, and it also has the ability to restrain and cut. This silk thread is made of a super dangerous type of body hair, and the sharpest thread is called Jia, which is far more tenacious than other silk threads. Venom used this broken line to restrain the Golden Lion's legs. The hindered mobility and the invalidation of Dark Fruit's ability completely blocked the Golden Lion's chance of escaping. Boom! At this moment, Garp finally arrived and punched Golden Lion into the ground, followed by a combination of punches that collapsed mountains and seas. Feeling the vibration from the ground, Sikong Ye shivered subconsciously. Can't afford to be provoked. Part of the Venom is attached to Zoro's body, resisting part of the impact when Zoro falls, and self-heals Zoro. Part of it is attached to the Golden Lion to ensure that the Golden Lion cannot display the ability of Lion Fruit. Without the fruit ability, coupled with the ever-changing constraints, Golden Lion has been completely reduced to a sandbag for Garp to vent his anger. 3 hours later, Zoro regained consciousness with the help of the Venom, and all his injuries were healed. Although the self-healing effect of Venom is not as comprehensive as Kaya's horse charm, it is not difficult to treat some common injuries. After recovering the Venom from Zoro, Sikong Ye found that the Venom had indeed mastered Shura's physique, and all physical qualities have been enhanced. The key is that it can change into a 3-headed and 6-armed form. This form is not very effective for the Venom. With the deformation ability of the Venom, let alone 3 heads and 6 arms, 9 heads and 18 arms are no problem. Seeing that Garp finally got tired and stopped, Sikong Ye approached the Golden Lion. He was about to kill the Golden Lion, but was stopped by Garp. What do you want? Cut the weeds and eradicate the roots. No, this is a major criminal captured by the Marine. It must be handed over to the Enies lobby for trial and locked up and impelled down, Garp said righteously. However, Sikong Ye doesn't like this set. If I remember correctly, the Golden Lion was captured by you and Marshal Sengoku and imprisoned in Impel Down, but what happened? Without waiting for Garp to respond, Sikong Ye continued to talk. I'm locked up this time. If he escapes again next time, I'm afraid your reputation as a Marine hero will be completely stink. It doesn't matter whether you are famous or not. This old man is a Marine, so he must abide by the duties of a Marine. Garp hides the Golden Lion behind him, preventing Sikong Ye from having any chance to touch the Golden Lion. Regarding this, Sikong Ye only felt that Marines' regulations were really bad enough. Such heinous pirates would be killed as soon as they were killed. Just now Garp wanted to protect Golden Lion's safety, and even provide Golden Lion with a place to eat and sleep, and a chance to enjoy his old age. How unfair this is to ordinary people who died under the pirate's butcher's knife. P.S. I encountered an unlucky thing today, and I didn't get home until 9 o'clock to code, so I'm sorry again. Don't worry, today's update will not be less expensive. Chapter 102. Ask Garp for the Golden Lion and find the whereabouts of Sky Island. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. Vice Admiral Garp, the Golden Lion is just a criminal to you, a merit. But to those who have been hurt, the Golden Lion is a demon that destroys their lives. The Golden Lion is also a great disaster for our Z-Way pirates. If he runs away and comes to us for revenge, it will only be our Z-Way pirates who are unlucky. You are powerful and fearless. I don't dare to rest assured that such a guy who always misses our Z-Way pirates is still alive. And you should know that Luffy has the ability to devour corpses and become stronger. The Golden Lion's corpse is a great supplement to Luffy. I hope you, a grandfather, will occasionally think about it for Luffy. Sikong Ye's tone was cold. He didn't mean to use Luffy to talk about things, but to talk about things. Garp always puts his focus on Marine, and pays little attention to the care of his grandchildren. Luffy grew up in Windmill Village in Corpo Mountain since he was a child. Every time Garp went home to visit his grandson, he didn't bring any gifts. Maybe it's Garp's love for Luffy, but is this love really what Luffy herself longs for? How can Shanks turn Luffy into a pirate with just a few words? Why did Ace even give up his One Piece dream after meeting Whitebeard, and wanted to help Whitebeard ascend the throne? To put it bluntly, the grandfather Garp is really not qualified. Of course, Sikong Ye is not criticizing Garp from the moral high ground, and can also understand Garp's helplessness because he is busy with work and cannot accompany his family. Therefore, he brought up the matter. I just hope that Garp can use the Golden Lion's body to make up for his grandson's debt a little bit. As for the lion fruit, he would indeed take it out after the Golden Lion died, but he didn't talk about Luffy because he liked the lion fruit. The lion fruit was just like that, it still couldn't catch Sikong Ye's eyes. Even if he took it out, it was just for the other crew members to take. But the Golden Lion will not die for a day, and he feels uneasy. No way, no way. However, even if Sikong Ye mentioned Luffy and family affection, Garp still stood by Marine. This made Sikong Ye a little crazy. Why is it so tiring to reason with rigid guys? Why? Because first I'm Marine. Even if the Golden Lion is a great compliment to Luffy, I will definitely not violate the justice I uphold. Garp's words were sonorous and forceful. Sikong Ye was speechless, and Zoro was also silent when he heard this sentence. It has nothing to do with position, right or wrong, it's just the determination of an old man. Taking a deep breath, Sikong Ye covered his whole body with the venom recovered from Zoro, and stared straight at Vice Admiral Garp. Vice Admiral Garp, it is undeniable that you are a respectable Marine, but I also contributed to the capture of the Golden Lion. If I hadn't pinned the Golden Lion for so long and restricted most of his abilities, you wouldn't have been able to capture it at all, to him. About this, I will truthfully report to Sengoku and give you credit. Garp also made it clear that he was telling Sikong Ye. If you want meritorious service, no problem. Want Golden Lion, dream. Zoro on the side opened his mouth wide, feeling as if he had heard some incredible news. Record merits. Why is Vice Admiral Garp giving the captain credit? Is it possible? Hiss, in an instant, Zoro imagined an earth-shattering spy war blockbuster. At the same time, he was worried whether he would be silenced by the captain because he knew too much. Sikong Ye frowned, and finally threw out a killer trick. I know that a certain Shichibukai has planted spies inside your Marine, and I use this information in exchange for the right to dispose of the Golden Lion's body. Hearing this, Garp frowned, feeling impatient that Shichibukai dared to plant spies inside their Marine. He did not doubt the authenticity of the information given by Sikong Ye. After all, Sikong Ye can even find the Golden Lion, and it is reasonable to catch the spy in the Marine. Just when Sikong Ye thought Garp didn't believe it, the latter patted him on the shoulder and laughed out of nowhere. Ha 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 ha, Didn't you just say that a long time ago? Sikong Ye. Dare to feel that this old guy is waiting for his quotation. Zoro. FK. I respected you just now. Vice Admiral Garp is a good marine with principles and bottom lines. Why did the painting style change the next moment? Is this the so-called marine hero? Hey, intuit, Golden Lion's corpse can be given to you, but it can only be a corpse. After all, Garp dragged Golden Lion in front of him and punched his heart. Before dying, Golden Lion wanted to fight back to save himself, but his half-disabled body had already lost the strength to resist. What's more, the Ever-changing and Venom are still restraining Golden Lion, even if he wants to resist, it's just a daydream. Boy, the corpse is given to you. Should you tell me which bastard Shichibukai dared to plant spies inside our marine? By the way, do you feel that we are falling in 3.3? Sikong Ye didn't ink, and ordered the Venom to reach into the Golden Lion's body to capture the power of the demon. Anyway, the system space is isolated from the outside world, and there are some fresh fruits inside. Maybe when he checks the system space next time, he will find that lion fruit has been reborn. Garp crossed his arms and asked Sikong Ye, who was about to speak when he was interrupted by Zoro's words. Sikong Ye. Maybe one day I will be tricked to death by the old guy Garp who is offline. After a while, Venom captured a group of freshly baked demon power, and Sikong Ye glanced at it and threw it directly into the system space. They are all still on the floating sky island, and the floating sky island is activated by the Golden Lion's lion fruit ability. Sikong Ye was taken aback for a moment, then suddenly remembered an extremely important matter. I remembered, that old fellow Sengoku had already anticipated the situation after defeating the Golden Lion, so every marine was equipped with a pack of parachutes. With such a careless general at the booth, those marines are also a sad reminder. Garp kicked the corpse to Sikong Ye's feet. Sikong Ye fell silent when he saw this, and the legendary great pirate Golden Lion died so aggrieved because of a spy's information. Oops. Garp panicked, remembering that they were floating on Sky Island, but Garp regained his composure the next moment. The Golden Lion is dead, the lion fruit is invalid, and the floating Sky Island will naturally fall. It's a pity that the Golden Lion's fruit and corpse were obtained, but the shadow and soul were not, but Sikong Ye didn't care. Anyway, after Golden Lion severely injured Usopp and made Kaya unconscious, Sikong Ye did not plan to contract Golden Lion's heroic spirit. Chapter 103 Everything is ready. Marco Teach appears in East Blue. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. In fact, Sikong Ye also considered the problem of floating Sky Island's whereabouts before. However, after the Venom invalidated the Golden Lion fruit's ability many times, the floating Sky Island never fell, so he subconsciously ignored it. However, in fact, the reason why the floating Sky Island did not fall before is because the Golden Lion used lion fruit to float the floating Sky Island a long time ago, so it will not fall. Although dark fruit can invalidate devil fruit's ability, it will only be invalid when it touches the opponent. The fruit ability that has been used before will not be lost. Assuming that Blackbeard is facing Bignum, it is impossible for Blackbeard's black smoke to slightly touch Bignum's body, and the homies created by Bignum will dissipate, right? In the same way, it is impossible for Don Quixote family's sugar to wear seastone handcuffs, and the curse of the toy will be lifted, right? If so, why did Usopp go to such great lengths to scare Sasuke in the original book? And Golden Lion also needs to sleep, and lion fruit still works when sleeping, which shows this point. 14 Sikong Ye remembers that in the original book, it was Luffy who beat the Golden Lion until he passed out, and then let the floating Sky Island fall. Your men have parachutes, what about the two of us? Sikong Ye glanced at Garp, the latter would never let the two of them fall with the floating Sky Island. The point is, it looks like it was Garp's own fault. However, Sikong Ye is too naive, and Garp is no longer the pure old man he used to be. If you want my help, you can give me another piece of information with the same value as Golden Lion. Sikong Ye never imagined that one day he would be robbed by this honest-looking guy in front of him. Information of the same value as the Golden Lion? What a lion, don't be afraid to flash your tongue. I refuse, your asking price is too harsh, I'd better find a way by myself. Sikong Ye resolutely rejected Garp's routine, took the Golden Lion's body into the system space, and then let the Venom possess Zoro, and he himself sent the super distance ship back to the Emperor Star. Garp. It's just a piece of information, why is it so picky? If you think it's too expensive, you can bargain. How much does it mean to directly flip the table? Can't afford it. Vice Admiral Garp looked at Zoro, and saw that Zoro was covered with Venom armor, and then the Venom took a sharp breath and turned into an inflated balloon. Instantly slowed down the falling speed. Good guy, it turns out that there is a backup. And there are still two backhands, one for partners to use, and one for personal use. Meanwhile, the forest to the east of the palace. Sikong Ye came to the Emperor Star in an instant, looking at the damaged ship's side deck, several holes in the canvas, and those black bloodstains. He felt uncomfortable for a while. This gave Sikong Ye a vision of seeing Going Merry being burned. System, if the Emperor Star is damaged, how to repair it? Return to host. After the Emperor Star is upgraded to the 3rd level, the automatic repair function will be opened, and it only needs to consume gold, silver, jewelry, Bailey and other properties to repair it. After receiving the system's accurate response, Sikong Ye's expression eased a little. It seems that we have to hurry up and complete the side missions. Sikong Ye unloaded the canvas from the mast and made it into a parachute, which was tied to the sides of the Emperor Star and opened directly. Then I found a few spare canvases from the cabinet and made them in the same way. As the parachutes were stretched side by side, the speed of the Emperor Star began to slow down, and the distance between the bottom of the ship and the ground of the island slowly increased. In the end it got bigger and bigger. Sikong Ye heaved a sigh of relief watching the Emperor Star slowly descending. Fortunately, it came in time. If it just fell along the floating Sky Island like this, I'm afraid it will be scrapped directly. Floating on Sky Island, Kaya and Usopp are sleeping in the shadow ship. Zoro has Venom to help, don't worry about landing. Karina has the fruit of the fallen angel and can fly without worrying about it. As for Luffy, Sikong Ye wasn't worried at all. Not to mention that Luffy has a rubber balloon that can slow down the falling speed. Even if Luffy forgets this ability, the devil's physique is enough to protect Luffy from dying. Boom. Rumbling. Countless boulders shattered and fell from the sky to the sea surface, setting off huge waves with an extremely loud momentum. Among them, the floating Sky Island where the Golden Lion Palace is located even blocks the sky and the sun. Once it falls, it may set off a terrifying tsunami. Above the sky, a group of humanoid creatures with wings are flying towards the rumored Sky Island. Located below the floating Sky Island group, many people on the boats looked at the gloomy sky above their heads and the broken stones that fell from time to time, feeling as hopeless as the end of the world. Some people with clear minds quickly turned their course away from this area. What is this? On a certain pirate ship, Sak looked at the island above his head and was shocked inexplicably. On the other side, Teach was terrified by the sight in front of him, and hastily turned his course away from the area where an island rain was about to fall. Upon seeing this, Marco smiled slightly. In that case, let's go and have a look. If it's Sky Island, will there be any treasures? In the days of sailing with Marco, Saki and Namir these days, listening to how optimistic they are about the Z-Way pirates, has completely extinguished the little calculation in his heart. Of course, to deal with Marco, the premise is that Teach gets the dark fruit. Hearing Marco's inquiry, Teach suddenly became interested. I've heard a lot of rumors about Sky Island, but I've never seen Sky Island. Captain Marco, why don't we go and have a look? In the end, Teach decided to suppress his small thoughts first and wait for an opportunity. Originally, Teach planned to solve the Z-Way pirates with the help of Marco and others, but now he had to consider 883 to solve Marco and others as well. Quiet. It's really bad luck for 8 lifetimes, and there is such a thing as a stone falling from the sky. Teach cursed, feeling extremely unhappy. It's really the right time to come to East Blue, the mysterious famous sword, Z-Way pirates, and now there is another unknown Sky Island. If he wants to attack the Z-Way pirates, Marco will definitely stand in the way, but if he wants to attack Marco first, he can't fight without dark fruit. Teach's proposal immediately received the approval of Saki and Namir, and they were also very interested in Sky Island. Sky Island. I've been busy thinking about the Z-Way pirates before, but I really didn't think about the origin of the island above my head. Teach's mind became active, and he didn't leave in a hurry. Anyway, with the strength of Marco and others, they can completely clear out a safe area. Teach, do you think this is the legendary Sky Island? So, it got into an endless loop. Chapter 104 Luffy's self-rescue trip, encountering Marco. Teach. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. Time back to a minute ago. In the center of the Sky Island Palace, the battle is still going on in full swing. It has been 3 hours since the tornado disappeared, and the Marines and pirates once again entered the battlefield. Both sides suffered casualties and fought real fire. It's crazy to kill, and even one by one is a desperate way to fight. Even if he was slashed once by the opponent, he would retaliate twice regardless of the injury. On the battlefield, Luffy kept harvesting the corpses of those pirates, leaving nothing but Marine corpses. This scene caused many pirates to be dissatisfied, and they reprimanded Luffy one after another. Why should they stare at their pirate corpses? Can't you see all those Marine corpses? Pirates always get angry with Luffy every time they think that there will be no scum left after their death. Many bad-tempered brothers even directly lead the surrounding pirates to besiege Luffy. It's a pity, facing a demon who is immortal and constantly replenishing his energy, group attack is the most unwise way. These pirates died one after another, and Luffy was really like a farmer wearing a straw hat, treating the pirates as leeks, and cutting one crop after another. Boom. Rumbling. Suddenly, the falling movement of the floating Sky Island attracted the attention of many pirates and Marines, and a bad premonition suddenly rose in their hearts. The Golden Lion lost. That means, the floating Sky Island is about to fall. In an instant, neither the Marine nor the pirates had any interest in fighting. They either panicked or fled towards the periphery of the floating Sky Island. Marine was a little bit orderly, and they all evacuated towards the nearest edge of the floating Sky Island in an orderly manner, and raised their parachutes in an orderly manner. Many rational pirates found some intact parachutes after touching the dead bodies, and they also started to run towards the edge of the island. However, in the middle of this chaos, Luffy is still busy devouring the corpse, like a hardworking bee. constantly picking nectar from the flowers. Bogart, who was the last to evacuate, was slightly taken aback when he saw this scene. He really deserved to be the grandson of Vice Admiral Garp. Floating Sky Island is falling, but they are still focused on protecting the environment. Bogart wanted to remind Luffy, but when he saw several Marines around him, he finally just pressed the brim of his hat and didn't say anything. He is a Marine and has no obligation to alert the pirates. Not even Garp's grandson. But Bogart is not worried. After all, Luffy has an immortal body, so it won't matter if he really goes down. After all the Marines and pirates in the entire palace were evacuated, Luffy realized the abnormality belatedly, and the devouring action stopped. Hey, where did everyone go? Forget it, my mission is to devour all the pirates. Speaking of which, Luffy was going to continue devouring, but the shaking of the island became more and more frequent, which made him unable to stand still and fell to the ground. Luffy, who was lying on the ground, accidentally found many people with parachutes and groups of big white birds popping up in the sky. Hey, why did they go to the sky? Those big birds look delicious. They seem to be flying higher and higher. No, it seems that I am falling, Luffy muttered to himself, and woke up instantly. Immediately, Luffy felt a sense of weightlessness and immediately yelled. Help, Luffy shouted loudly, but unfortunately no one answered. Afraid of falling to his death, Luffy stretched out his arms and grabbed a Marine who opened his parachute, and firmly grasped the leg of a scar-faced Marine. Scar-faced Marine felt the speed of landing faster and faster because of Luffy's ride, and panicked for no reason. Tried to kick Luffy's hand down, but unfortunately the latter's grip was too firm to kick. So Scarface drew his knife and slashed at Luffy's arm. Clang! However, Luffy's arm turned into pitch black, instantly breaking the Marine's standard long knife. Scarface Marine. The scar-faced Marine really wanted to cry at this moment. He's just an ordinary Marine, why should he be buried with him? The key is that if things go on like this, Luffy may not necessarily die, but he will definitely not survive. Luffy, who was hanging below, felt that the falling speed was still a bit fast, so he stretched out his other hand to another Marine. With the buffer of 2 parachutes, the speed suddenly stabilized, and the 2 Marines above breathed a sigh of relief. Luffy looked down, and the floating sky island hit the sea with a bang. Smoke and dust rose up all of a sudden, and the huge impact set off a wave, which spread around. It's so dangerous, I almost died. Luffy looked like he had survived the catastrophe. Maybe he would not be killed if he fell from a height of 10,000 meters, but once he fell into the sea, it would be troublesome. The body of the devil is not affected by the sea mazukage, and it will not die if it falls into the sea. But Luffy can't swim, and it will be troublesome to salvage it once it sinks to the bottom of the sea. Hey, there is a sailboat there, you can ask them for a ride with the wind. Luffy was full of surprise, and when the sea calmed down, he immediately swung towards the direction of the sailboat. His constant shaking made the 2 Marines above tremble. Call out. Boom. Letting go of his hands, Luffy landed on the deck of the sailboat, knocking a hole out of the deck, and fell into the hull. Climbing onto the deck, Luffy looked around and found that it was a huge sailing ship, more than 10 times larger than the Emperor Star, and had a beautiful appearance. A pirate flag hangs on the mast, and the skull has a crescent-shaped white beard and a pair of intersecting bones. Hearing footsteps, Luffy looked at the 4 people walking towards him. The leading man looked like a fish, with an airplane head wearing a chef uniform standing on the left, and a fat man with dark skin and several missing teeth standing on the right. Behind the trio, the Murloc Namur glared at Luffy viciously, as if the latter owed him millions. You are also pirates? You look so weird. Pineapple head, airplane head, shark head, and fat black man? Luffy looked surprised. Marco, Sachi, Qian de Zhao, Namul, Mouth Teach. Hearing that he was called a black fat man, Teach was about to explode on the spot. Don't ask him why he can confirm that he is a black fat man by checking his number. Asking is self-knowledge. But it's one thing to be self-aware, and quite another to be called a nickname by someone's nose. Sax showed displeasure, while Namur kept a straight face. Even Marco was so choked that he forgot the words just now. If Dad didn't like Ziwe pirates, he, Marco, would be the first to go up and teach this guy who likes to give people nicknames. I see you have crescent beards painted on the skulls of the pirate flag. Are you the legendary, curvy beard pirates? Marco. God-damn bearded pirates. This is the worst time their Whitebeard pirates have ever been hacked. We are the Whitebeard pirates, Marco corrected him. Chapter 105 The first battle between Luffy and Teach. Go to Koko Yasi. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. Whitebeard. Luffy was stunned. Then why do you have to make your beards curly? Could it be that curly beards have some special meaning? It doesn't make sense, our father's beard grows like this. Marco explained with a dark face, for fear that Luffy, a fool, would think of something bad. Although Marco can be patient and explain to Luffy, it doesn't mean that other people have Marco's good temper. Both Sage and Namul were a little upset that Luffy used their father repeatedly, and Nanchi was even more aggrieved. Stinky boy, apologize to Daddy quickly, I won't allow you to humiliate Daddy like this. Teach. Marco wanted to dissuade him, but was interrupted by Teach. Captain Marco, needless to say, No matter how optimistic the father is about the Zwei pirates, it is not the capital they can do recklessly. I'm going to teach this hairless kid a lesson today, so that he can have a long memory. After all, Teach punched Luffy with a strong punch, and if he hit a child, he might be killed directly. When Marco saw this, he was shocked. Luffy is just young and ignorant, so he wouldn't be beaten to death as soon as he came up, right? If this really kills Luffy, their Whitebeard pirates and Zwei pirates will become deadly enemies. Alas, Teach respects his father too much and cannot tolerate half 330 points of sand. Just as Marco was about to stop him, he suddenly remembered the description of Luffy on the reward order. The person with the ability of the fruit of the devil is suspected to have the power of immortality. So, Marco stopped the action of blocking Teach and waited and watched. He was very curious whether the fruit Luffy ate was of the same type as his phoenix, both of which possessed the characteristics of immortality. Seeing the fist as big as Heimanto coming straight to the door, Luffy was right. He instantly entered the second gear and turned on armament haki, and also punched back. Hiss. There was a sudden gasp on the deck. Haki. Armament haki. Is this the power that a 7-year-old boy can cultivate? Boom. The two fists intersected. Teach didn't take a step back, and Luffy took 7 or 8 steps back. But no one dares to underestimate Luffy. After all, Luffy is only 7 years old this year. Teach was also full of astonishment. He thought that a kid was nothing to worry about, so he only used 20% of his strength, but he didn't expect that the latter just took a few steps back and was not injured at all. This made Teach feel ashamed, and immediately wanted to continue to attack, but was held down by Marco, by the shoulder. Teach, don't forget Dad's explanation. Dad values Zwei pirates very much. You don't want to see Dad get angry, do you? Marco's tone was flat, but the pair of unquestionable eyes made the neighbor take back his small movements. Of course I hope my father will be happy, it's just that what this kid said just now was so annoying that I couldn't help but want to teach him a lesson. Haha, we know, Teach, you care about Daddy and brother the most, even if Daddy knows, he won't blame you. Sax patted Teach's shoulder with a smile, reassuring. Namur stood aside quietly, without saying a word. But judging from his expression, he obviously has a good impression of Teach. Hey, that fat black man, do you still want to fight? If you don't fight, I'll cancel the second gear. Luffy pouted dissatisfied. It's you who wants to fight, but the fight stops right after it started, how boring it is. Hearing Luffy bite a black fat man, the corners of Teach's eyes twitched, wishing to rush forward and tear Luffy's stinky mouth open. However, he just promised Marco that he would not do anything again. If he broke his word, he might make Marco and others look down on him. Marco walked slowly in front of Luffy, introduced his group to Luffy, and then asked Luffy's identity. In fact, Marco and the others have seen Luffy's reward order, so they naturally know Luffy's identity, and such inquiries are just to draw in the relationship between the two parties. I'm Monkey D. Luffy, the man who will become One Piece in the future. Luffy covered the straw hat with his right hand and smiled slightly. Marco and others couldn't help being stunned when they saw Luffy's expression. Why does this smile always have a magical power that makes people want to believe it? Thief, haha. You said you were going to be the man of One Piece. Could it be that you are crooked too? Teach sneered unscrupulously. Before, Luffy used the beard to insinuate that their father was crooked, and now he wants to return the debt to Luffy. I Teach, but I am very vengeful. Of course, Teach's purpose of doing this is more to impress Marco in front of him. However, Teach did not receive appreciation, but was knocked out by Marco. What do you mean by that? Did you acquiesce that Daddy is crooked? I didn't. You still said no, didn't your word? Also, bring Dad in together. Teach was dumbfounded. He didn't know that those words would accidentally bring his father in. If he had known, he might as well have kept his mouth shut. Curved. Is that what you said? Luffy asked, extending his arms and rotating them 2.5 weeks around himself. 5. Marco. You are still young, and you don't need to understand these esoteric issues now. Does that mean I can grow up to understand these things? So, Luffy, you are now separated from the rest of the Zwei pirates. After breaking away from the place where the floating sky island fell, Sikong Ye drove the Emperor Star to take the lead in the direction of Koko Yasi village. Marco abruptly changed the subject. In other words, it wasn't the sky island that fell just now, but the residence of the Golden Lion. Luffy told Marco and others the place names he had learned from the captain during the chat. It's not good to grow up. Luffy, let's not talk about that, let's talk about why you fell from the sky first. Facing Marco's comfort, Luffy asked expectantly. After listening, Marco couldn't help being surprised that the Golden Lion actually appeared in East Blue, and was defeated by the marine hero Garp. As for the information that was supposed to be given to Garp, it can only be delayed until the next meeting. On board the Emperor Star. But when they thought that they found Luffy so quickly, the disappointment calmed down a lot. Thank you, big brother. Immediately, Marco and the others were a little disappointed. Thank you, Pineapple Head big brother. Our captain said that the next stop is Kokoyasi village, but I don't know where Kokoyasi village is. So Luffy resolutely told the story of Golden Lion in general. Generally speaking, it was the story of being caught and then fleeing. Yeah, Luffy nodded. If not, do you know where your captain's next stop is? We can take you there. Marco touched Luffy's head, pretending not to notice the straw hat on Luffy's head, with a gentle big brother smile on his face. It's okay, we will take you there. Chapter 106. The treasure is finally available, 2 new captain skills. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. Sikong Ye thought about it, and thought that after Garp solved the Golden Lion, East Blue Marine should send a large number of Marines to search for Kebi and Tashigi. If Marine keeps procrastinating, then don't want information about Virgo. Puff, puff. At this time, Karina flapped a pair of black wings and landed on the deck. Sikong Ye walked out of the captain's cabin, and quickly supported the slightly weak Karina. Sikong Ye looked at Karina, who had fallen asleep in his arms, and smiled helplessly. This little girl, you really worked hard. Even if I didn't find the treasure, I wouldn't blame you. Why are you working so hard? After carrying Karina into the 2-bedroom cabin, Sikong Ye made some random food with the gourmet machine, ate a dinner, washed up, and was ready to go to sleep after calibrating the flight. Originally, he planned to return to the fishing boat after the early morning tonight, when the super distance ship was sent to cool down. But at the end of the day today, he was really tired and sleepy. In addition, Karina, Kaya, and Usopp on the asterisk side have all passed out, so it is impossible for him to ignore it. Even if there were shadow soldiers guarding the boat, he was somewhat worried. Sikong Ye lying on the bed was full of thoughts, and finally fell into a deep sleep. The next day, it wasn't until 10 o'clock in the morning that Sikong Ye slowly got up from the bed. As soon as he woke up, he saw Karina standing by the bed and staring at him unblinkingly, making the latter blush. Why are you looking at me like that? I didn't expect you to look good when you were sleeping. Karina smiled and said without any shyness. Hearing this, Sikong Ye rolled his eyes, and slowly got up to take a shower. Captain, why don't you ask me how my girl is doing? Karina followed behind Sikong Ye with small steps. How many? 68 billion. PFF'd. Sikong Ye, who was rinsing his mouth, directly sprayed out the mouthwash. How many did you say? I said, I got a total of 6.8 billion worth of treasure yesterday. Karina patted her chest and repeated it proudly. After rinsing his mouth thoroughly, Sikong Ye walked out of the bathroom and came to the cabin to sit down, took a deep breath, and asked about the whereabouts of the treasure. He didn't see Karina come back with the treasure yesterday. My shadow soldier Danzo is in the shadow, but because the shadow soldier will also carry the load inside the shadow space, so it is still on the way to the Emperor Star. Karina grinned. Shadow soldiers can sneak in the shadow, and can also put items into the shadow space, but the shadow space is only the size of the shadow body, and there are restrictions on carrying weight. That's right, you're indeed the strange thief of Arzway pirates, you've really gone too far. Sikong Ye gave a compliment, but Karina pouted. Are you complimenting me or hurting me? Of course it's a compliment. Actually, I have not only gained 6.8 billion treasures this time, but also found 3 unknown devil fruits. Devil fruit. Sikong Ye's eyes lit up when he heard the words. This devil fruit is a good thing. It can quickly increase the combat power of the crew. Even if it is a relatively rubbish devil fruit, it can also be eaten by those guys on the heroic spirit ship. As for selling, non-existent. Sikong Ye would rather all the devil fruits rot in his own hands than sell them. Is he a poor man? Now that 6.8 billion is in the account, Zwei pirates became rich overnight, would he care about the little money from selling devil fruit? And if he is short of money, he can get it by himself, so there is no need to sell devil fruit. In the original book, the Sky Island ruled by Enel is worth tens of billions or even hundreds of billions of gold. After all, it is a whole golden city. It's just that Luffy and the others didn't touch the golden clock in the golden city and the golden boat built by Enel, but just took a little bit of treasure from the belly of the giant snake named Nolan. To be honest, Sikong Ye was dumbfounded. Is there any reason to return dissatisfied after entering Baoshan? Keep the gold, and I don't know who it will be cheap to in the end. Of course, this may also have something to do with the fact that Going Merry is too small, but Sikong Ye has system space, and if the system space is not enough, it can be stuffed on the Emperor Star and the auxiliary ship. However, Devil Fruit is also on the side of the Shadow Core now, and it is estimated that it will be delivered in a short time. Karina continued, and Sikong Ye stroked Xiaonizi's head. Thank you for your hard work. The two got bored for a while, and after a sumptuous lunch, the Shadow Core returned one after another, starting with 3 devil fruits. A pineapple, a banana, and an orange. System, what varieties are these 3 devil fruits? Asking for flowers. Sorry host, your problem is not included in the service of this system. Sikong Ye, good guy, the system actually refuses to answer sometimes. But it seems to be normal. The questions Sikong Ye asked before are all within the jurisdiction of the system, and it is really unreasonable to ask about the variety of devil fruit. So Sikong Ye temporarily put the 3 devil fruits in the system space, and can ask Sanji when he meets Sanji. After all, Sanji is also someone who has read the Devil Fruit illustrated book. As for asking Marine, forget it, he doesn't want to be slaughtered again. Soon, The Shadow Corps moved all the treasures back to the Emperor Star and piled them on the deck, shining brightly under the sunlight. Karina makes a second confirmation of the treasure, and Sikong Ye stores all the treasures confirmed by Karina into the system space. Option 3. Do nothing to conceal the boat. Ding. Achievement mission. The total wealth of 1 billion has been completed. Please choose the captain's skill. At this moment, the long-lost system notification sounded again. Diamond Suit Life and Death Boat Fight. The captain can engage in a life and death fight with the target on the Emperor Star. The rules are set by the captain himself, but fairness and justice must be ensured, and the winner can survive, and the loser must die. This skill can only be used once per natural day. Option 3. Phantom Ship Strike. Sikong Ye glanced at it casually, and then returned the account to Karina. He still trusts his crew. Option 2. Extreme Boat Drift. Back and forth, the two were busy until the evening before cleaning up. Option 1. Life and Death Boat Fight. FK me, it's double the options, double the happiness. Option 2. Heishi Shipbuilding. And there are 2 captain skills that have never appeared before. Ding. Achievement mission. Total wealth exceeding 100 million has been completed. Please choose the captain skill. Sun 1. Option 1. Transforming Ship Armor. In action ship hidden. When the captain and the Emperor Star are in a static state, they will be subconsciously ignored by everyone, and it will not work for those with higher spiritual power. Sikong Ye. Captain, after detailed statistics, these treasures are worth 7.2 billion Baileys. Karina handed the account to Sikong Ye to check. Chapter 107 The Choice of Boat Skills. Return to the fishing boat and meet the warship by chance. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. The boat of life and death and the boat of inaction. Sikong Ye was astonished when he saw the 2 new captain skills appearing on the system panel. The life and death ship fighting skill is equivalent to a life and death duel field, which can pull anyone on the Emperor Star into it and force a duel. The duel rules are formulated by Sikong Ye himself, so that he can design some rules that are more beneficial to him, and it is difficult to lose. Although the rules require fairness and justice, they are limited to this. If he competes with a child for arm wrestling, strictly speaking, as long as the game of arm wrestling is fair and reasonable, then it doesn't matter whether the testes of both parties are on the 10th level or not. Even if he loses, he will be reborn on the Emperor Star after he dies, so there is no need to worry that he will die if he loses the game. The hidden skill of Wu Wei Ship is also a very practical ability. Standing still and not moving, 317, can make people ignore the existence of him and the Emperor Star, which can save a lot of unnecessary troubles. The most convenient point is that you don't need to be attacked by people when you sleep at night. Only people with extremely strong mental power can detect the existence of the Emperor Star. Both new skills are good, and the old skills are also good, which makes it more difficult to choose. Now the total wealth achievement task has reached the billion level, and there are 2 levels of 10 billion and 100 billion levels. Sikong Ye is not sure whether he can reach the city's billion level in the future. That is to say, after selecting skills this time, there are very likely only 2 choices left in the future. Therefore, the choice must be cautious. The system, Heishi Ship Building and Phantom Ship Strike are compatible. If I choose one of them this time, will there be another skill next time? Go back to the host. After selecting the matching skill, another skill will definitely appear next time. After receiving the system's reply, the corners of Tong Kong's mouth rose slightly. Since this is the case, system, I will choose Heishi Shipbuilding and Wu Wei Shipyan. The reason for choosing these 2 skills is because Wu Wei Chuanian can hide himself in the Emperor Star, and Heishi Shiplu can give himself and the Emperor Star a Phantom Shadow clone. One concealment and one illusion complement each other. Although the life and death boat fight is also very good, but there are too many restrictions, the effect is not particularly obvious, and it is a pity to discard it if it is tasteless. It can be placed in the shortlist together with the deformation ship armor. As for the extreme boat drift, Sikong Ye has completely given up on it. In the future, after Frankie boards the boat, he can modify a set of Coke Energy wind cannon to achieve the same effect. After completing the selection, Sikong Ye came to the shadow ship under the leadership of Karina. The layout of the shadow ship is similar to that of the Emperor Star, but the dark style is more intense. Fortunately, it does not erode people's hearts like the Shadow Kingdom. Entering the cabin of the shadow ship, Sikong Ye first checked Usopp's injuries. Multiple fractures and skin trauma were vividly visible. Fortunately, the internal organs tended to be stable, and his life was safe. The venom is with Zoro, and I can't help Usopp heal now, I can only make Usopp suffer for a while longer. After silently praying for Usopp for 2 seconds, Sikong Ye checks on Kaya. Kaya doesn't have any injuries on the outside, and her pink face is slightly pale. This is a phenomenon of excessive mental and physical strength, and it takes a day or 2 to recover. Sikong Ye gently touched Kaya's forehead, it was smooth, tender, watery and elastic. Captain, you are not allowed to bully Sister Kaya. Karina, who watched the whole process from the side, immediately pushed Sikong Ye away and stood in front of Kaya. Sikong Ye rolled his eyes. What are you thinking? I just took Kaya's temperature. I don't know when Kaya will wake up. Karina, I will trouble you to take care of her these 2 days. With a confession, Sikong Ye left the gloomy shadow ship, and Kaya and Usopp still stayed on the shadow ship. In case of enemy attack, they will not be in any danger. After dinner, Sikong Ye packed some dishes made by the gourmet machine, and prepared to bring them back to the fishing boat for Kuina and the others to taste. You are leaving. Karina was depressed, obviously reluctant to let Sikong Ye leave. I can't go back. Kuina doesn't know the location of Yasi village, I have to go back and show them the way. Sikong Ye spread his hands, saying that it is not easy for him to be the captain. At present, there are only a few people on the Emperor Star, and Kuina and his group don't know where they are wandering. Luffy, who lost his way, said in the group that he found a group of very interesting friends who were willing to send him to Yasi village, so there is no need to worry. It's just that Zoro was caught by that old guy Garp, and he asked for help in the group yesterday. Garp probably intends to use Zoro to knock him out, so there is no need to worry about Zoro's safety, it's just that the poison is on Zoro, making Sikong Ye very insecure now. Okay, I'm waiting for my friends to come back in Yasi village. Karina is a smart girl who knows her priorities. Well, when you arrive at Yasi village, you can first find a little girl named Nami and her sister Nuo Chigao, they are the future crew members of Arzway Pirates. After roughly describing the information about Yasi village to Karina, Sikong Ye said goodbye to Karina, and sent the super distance boat to the fishing boat. Little ones, your captain guy is back. As soon as he teleported to the deck, Sikong Ye couldn't help shouting, and then suddenly noticed that the atmosphere on the fishing boat was a bit subtle. On the deck, Kuina, Ace, Sabo, and Makino all wore turbans covering most of their faces. One by one, they are ready to fight. The three marine warships surrounded the fishing boats with a cautious look on their faces. When Kuina and others saw Sikong Ye appearing suddenly, they were immediately excited, but then they started to worry again. Ace and Sabo stared at Sikong Ye with dead fish eyes. What's your expression? Sikong Ye didn't know that the fishing boat was surrounded by three warships this evening, and the leader of the other party claimed to be Colonel Mouse 2.9 from the 16th Marine Branch. In order to avoid trouble, Kuina et al. Pretended. Seeing that they were about to avoid interrogation, Sikong Ye suddenly appeared, declaring himself as the captain as soon as he opened his mouth, completely disrupting the plans of Kuina and the others. GG, you said you are the captain, which pirate ship's captain are you? On the warship in the middle, a wretched man in a marine suit with a rat head hood twirled his beard, stood at the front of the warship and asked Sikong Ye. Sikong Ye followed the reputation, and after noticing Colonel Mouse's common expressions and hoodie, he guessed the latter's identity in an instant. Marine 16th Division Colonel Mouse. Rubbing between his eyebrows, Sikong Ye always felt that things were not going well recently. I am the captain of this fishing boat, what advice, Colonel, can I ask? Sikong Ye tried to close the loophole. Chapter 108. See you soon, this husky wants to go to heaven. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. Fishing boat. Colonel Mouse frowned, clearly disbelieving such a lame reason. Especially Sikong Ye's little ones, completely exposed the image of the pirate leader, how could he be the captain of a mere fishing boat? Besides, he had never met a 10-year-old fishing boat captain. White hair and purple eyes, 10 years old. I seem to have a little impression of you, but I can't remember where I saw you. Colonel Mouse had some impressions of Sikong Ye's face, but because the Zwei Pirates' reward was too low, Colonel Mouse didn't take it seriously. When he first saw a group of little kids on the reward list of the Zwei Pirates, Colonel Mouse lost interest and didn't pay much attention. Seeing that Colonel Mouse was remembering, Sikong Ye immediately threw a Sharingan over, with a smile on his face. Mr. Colonel, you may be mistaken. Is that so? It seems that I mistook the wrong person. Colonel Mouse was dazed for a while, and then he stopped worrying about this problem and prepared to lead his men back home. But at this moment, a seaman recruit stood up and saluted Colonel Mouse. Report to Colonel. I recognize the boy with white hair and purple eyes. He is the captain of Zwei Pirates, Sikong Ye. Boom. Seaman recruit 14 was shot and fell to the ground. I said that if I admit my mistake, I admit that I am wrong. You dare to question my decision. I suspect that you are a spy planted by pirates. Shoot on the spot. Come on, throw this guy into the sea and feed the sharks. After finishing speaking, Colonel Mouse walked into the cabin, leaving all the Marines looking at each other, trembling. Watching the warship slowly go away, Sikong Ye squinted his eyes, and the murderous intent flashed in his eyes. Every time I review the One Piece anime, Sikong Ye thinks that the most damn thing in the East Blue chapter is the Murloc Arlong and Colonel Mouse. The reason why I didn't do it just now is because it hasn't come yet. Human beings are inherently mortal, either lighter than a feather, or heavier than Mount Tai. It would be a waste to kill Colonel Mouse now, he would let Colonel Mouse use up his last energy before sending him on his way. In this way, the death of Colonel Mouse is considered valuable, and of course this value is for Sikong Ye. Kuina, Ace and Sabo were surprised when the three marine warships completely disappeared on the horizon. Captain, that Colonel Mouse is not bought by you, is it? Sabo asked the voice of everyone. After all, no matter how you looked at the situation at that time, it seemed that Colonel Mouse deliberately favored Sikong Ye, and for this reason he killed a sea soldier Liwei. If they said that their captain had no special deal with Colonel Mouse, they definitely wouldn't believe it. It's just hypnosis. Last time I fished you out of the palace dungeon, I used hypnosis. It's a more convenient method for me. Sikong Ye simply explained. Sabo pouted when he heard this. More convenient. It's quite convenient, isn't it? Xiao Yi, how is Luffy doing now? Why didn't he come back with you? Makino didn't know the information in the group chat from the beginning to the end, and no one told her about Luffy's condition. At this moment, she walked forward anxiously, holding Sikong Ye's hands and asking. After Golden Lion was captured, Luffy got separated from us. Fortunately, Luffy found a group of friendly pirates. Those pirates planned to send Luffy to Yasi village to join us. Sikong Ye briefly explained the ins and outs to Makino. Actually, Makino, you don't have to worry so much about Luffy's safety. He has an immortal body, even if his body is blown into countless pieces, nothing will happen. Makino, why didn't you tell me before? Although Makino has seen Luffy's bounty and the word immortality, he instinctively thinks that it is just some kind of exaggeration and does not think that Luffy can really be immortal. For a moment, Makino felt that worrying for so many days was unnecessary, and even realized that he might have been fooled by Sikong Ye. Sikong Ye scratched his head in embarrassment, seeing that Makino insisted on boarding the boat, and he didn't want Makino to go back to open the tavern after boarding the boat, so he automatically blurred the safety of Luffy. As long as Luffy is in danger, Makino will not return to the tavern, so there is no chance to recruit Makino. As an insider, Kuina also concealed these things and issued a gag order to Ace and Sabo. Didn't I tell you that Luffy is fine? If you don't believe me, you insist on going out to sea with us to save Luffy. How can I stop 10 sisters from wanting to save my brother from thousands of miles away? Throwing the pot to Makino himself, Sikong Ye took out the packaged delicacies stored in the system space, and sent a few people to have dinner directly. Makino rolled his eyes for such a hardcore way of throwing blame and changing the subject. But Makino didn't care about Luffy's safety anymore. Since he came out, he might as well take a look at Luffy before going back. Makino thought so. As everyone knows, since she stepped on Sikong Ye's thief ship, there is no option to get off the ship. After dinner, Sikong Ye began to test Ace Sabo's strength, and found that the two of them had made rapid progress in the 6 styles, so he couldn't help but nodded with satisfaction. You don't check my training progress? Kuina asked. No need. I believe you are not the kind of person who likes to be lazy, and Zoro has reached the realm of cutting iron and releasing sword energy, you don't want to be left too far behind. Hearing Sikong Ye's words, Ace and Sabo both had dark lines on their faces. Could it be that they are the kind of people who like to be lazy? Even Guyana's complexion was not much better, her eyes under the blue bangs were fixed on Sikong Ye. What do you mean by that? What do you mean that you don't want to be left too far away? I have already mastered the iron cutting and sword energy, okay. And I entered the realm of swordsman earlier than Zoro. Sikong Ye's eyes widened, he couldn't believe that Kuina had also reached the level of swordsman, why are all of them so monstrous? Zoro broke through the realm of the swordsman but came out of the swift and fierce Red Bull herd. How could Kuina catch up with Zoro by self-study? This unscientific. But Sikong Ye was too lazy to entangle, and was sincerely happy for Kuina's promotion to sword master. Taking advantage of the beautiful moonlight, Sikong Ye invited Kuina Ace Sabo to practice the 6 forms, and even Pochi came to join in the fun. Now Boki has mastered shaving and is currently practicing moonwalk. After Sikong Ye heard the news from Kuina's mouth, the corners of his mouth couldn't help twitching. It's been a long time, this husky wants to go to heaven. 4 people and 1 dog practiced until 11 o'clock, and they fell asleep one after another. At 6 o'clock the next morning, Sikong Ye called them up for training. Although everyone complained, they all started training honestly. They all know that Luffy's strength has improved to a higher level in this battle. In order not to be pulled too far, they can only chase desperately. Chapter 109 Gift a Seastone Bracelet, Kebi and Tashigi. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. Sikong Ye did not participate in the training, but found a rope and tied it to his body, measured the size, and tied the other end to the side of the boat. As for Sikong Ye himself, he jumped into the sea without hesitation. Plop. Crash. Sikong Ye came out of the water, wiped the seawater on his face, and was slightly surprised. Why don't I feel weak? That's right, Sikong Ye didn't feel weak at all at the moment, as if he had never eaten devil fruit. Could it be because the venom is not on me at the moment? Sikong Ye's eyes lit up. After the dark fruit is transferred by the venom, the side effects are on the venom, but the symbiotic relationship between the venom and the main body, so the side effects of the venom also become the side effects of the main body. At this moment, the venom is attached to Zoro, which means that the venom and Zoro temporarily coexist, and its side effects are transferred to Zoro. Thinking about this, Sikong Ye was very surprised. I didn't expect to remove the side effects by letting the venom possess other people. This is much more convenient. For the next hour, Sikong Ye performed all kinds of fancy swimming very comfortably and completed this long-troubled side task. Ding. Side mission. Swimming for an hour has been completed. Please select the hull facility. Option 1. Micro Air Conditioners. Option 2. Seastone Bracelet. Option 3. Multi-function Microwave Oven. Sikong Ye climbed onto the fishing boat along the rope and chose the Seastone Bracelet without thinking about it. The previous Seastone Bracelet Sikong Ye has always been for personal use, but even so, it will take several years to completely overcome the side effects of devil fruit. Therefore, once he has the opportunity to obtain the Seastone Bracelet, he will not let it go. Sikong Ye handed the Seastone Bracelet he chose this time to Kuina. This is the Seastone Bracelet. After wearing it, you will become weak and the fruit ability will be invalid, just like wearing Seastone handcuffs. However, wearing this bracelet for a long time can weaken the side effects of devil fruit. You don't need to wear it when you need to train during the day, but you must wear it on your hand when you sleep at night. After Sikong Ye explained, Kuina nodded frantically like a chicken pecking rice, playing with the Seastone Bracelet fondly. If she didn't feel weak after wearing it, she wished she could wear it all the time. Thank you, Captain. Thank you, these are what I should do as a captain. Sikong Ye smiled lightly, and then checked the side missions refreshed on the system panel. Fishing 100 caddies. The task is not very difficult, there happens to be a fishing tool in the system space. Sikong Ye takes out the tool, and quickly enters the fishing mode. At the beginning, when Sikong Ye and his party and Luffy's party rushed to Koko Yasi village to meet up, Garp was imprisoned in a temporary prison on the warship. In order to arrest the remnants of the Golden Lion pirate group, Marine has been searching for traces of pirates in the floating Sky Island crash area. Even one of the search teams found traces of Marco and others. However, after Garp learned that there were 3 captains of the Whitebeard pirates on board, he immediately ordered the search team to give up the hunt. It's not that he was afraid of Whitebeard, but that the forced pursuit would only return in vain. Marco is a phantom beast with the ability to fly in the sky. Namuel is a shark murloc who can swim in the sea. The 2 of them each bring 1 person, so it is not too easy to escape. Garp can't cast Moonwalk, who can fly higher with Marco, or who can jump into the sea and swim longer with Namuel. It has to be said that the captains arranged by Whitebeard to protect Teach are very reasonable, one flies into the sky and the other escapes into the sea. As for Sage, as Teach's best friend, it is natural to follow, and Sage is also a very good cook. On the Garp warship, in an office. After telling his subordinates not to provoke the Whitebeard pirates on the phone, Garp hung up the phone, and immediately looked at the 2 little guys in front of him kindly. One of them is an 11-year-old girl with long blue hair who looks very similar to Kuina and wears a pair of red-rimmed glasses. The little girl was a little shy and cute, she lowered her head and dared not look into Garp's eyes. The other was a 6-year-old boy with pink hair, wearing a pair of round-rimmed glasses that covered his somewhat frustrated horse face. Boys are more shy than girls, and their calves are shaking non-stop. I don't know whether it's fear or excitement. The 2 are young Tashigi and Kebi. Kebi, Tashigi, I have seen the resumes of both of you. Both of you were born as orphans. Are you interested in joining our marine? Is it really okay? Tashigi asked first. Aware that his words were a bit abrupt, Tashigi immediately explained. I wanted to join the local marine branch, but they rejected me because they thought I was young and weak. Garp heard that Tashigi did have the idea of joining the marine, and immediately became more interested in Sikong Ye's intelligence channels. Sikong Ye can even investigate such a trivial matter. It seems that the intelligence network is not generally broad. I'm not afraid. There will always be someone who remembers Marine's goodness, and there will always be someone who will inherit and carry forward Marine's justice. Garp tried his best to explain, but was directly interrupted by the word Tashigi. Feeling Tashigi's determination, the old man was a little moved. Looking at the 2 resolute and immature Li Wangjiao faces, Garp's eyes were slightly red, feeling that Marine's efforts over the years have not been in vain. Oh, then why do you want to join Marine? Ha ha ha. Little sister Tashigi, they rejected you for your own good. Joining Marine will only harm you if you are too weak. Garp sighed with emotion. Since talking with Sikong Ye that night, he has completely recognized the reality. Okay. It would be great if my grandson had the same consciousness as you, but unfortunately, he is destined to miss Marine. If everyone in the world had Tashigi's determination and will, maybe the whole world would be much cleaner, right? As for which part of Luffy's blood the Marine and the 5 elders recognize, it's not up to him as a bad old man. For justice, Luffy has both the blood of a hero and the blood of a sinner. But once he collapses, the tragedy of Batherilla will repeat itself on Luffy. Through the spy information that Sikong Ye wanted to disclose to him before, Garp even suspected that Sikong Ye had also planted a Dark Lord inside their marine. For justice, now that he's still useful, the 5 elders can turn a blind eye and admit that Luffy is the descendant of marine heroes. I'm not afraid either. At this moment, Kebi finally plucked up the courage to shout out. P.S. The author doesn't know exactly how old Kebi is, but let's define it as 1 year younger than Luffy. If he's too young, it's not convenient to shake in battle. Chapter 110 Marine's 3 Elders Coquettish Operation, Mission, Impossible Strategy. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. Putting these assumptions aside, let's ask, if there is an opportunity to use Luffy to bring down Dorag and even the Revolutionary Army, will the five elders really give up this opportunity for Garp's sake? Impossible. Five elders would not agree, and Garp knew that five elders would not agree. Instead of pulling Luffy into the marine and being constrained by the five elders, it is better to let Luffy go to the sea for a while, and maybe he can find a way out. Tashigi, Kirby, I officially welcome you to marine. As soon as Garp said this, Tashigi and Kebi got excited and stood at attention to salute. However, now this old man has an extremely important task for you to complete, and before the task is over, you will not be able to claim yourselves as marines. Of course you can also choose to refuse. This old man will not make things difficult for you. On the contrary, he will personally train you to become a powerful marine. Suddenly, Garp's tone changed, and his expression suddenly became serious. This multiple-choice question determined their marine's attitude towards the Zwei pirates. If the two little guys accept the task of undercovering the Zwei pirates, then they will relax the restrictions on the Zwei pirates. But if the two little guys refuse to carry out the undercover plan, then Garp will never let Tashigi and Kirby fall into the enemy camp. This also means that Marine unilaterally tore up the agreement. Although Garp cares about the safety of his own grandson and adopted grandson, he is a Marine after all, and he cannot use his own selfishness to chill the hearts of Tashigi and Kebi. Moreover, if Tashigi and Kebi can be favored by Sikong Ye, there must be something special about them. Compared with being the undercover agent of Zwei pirates, he hopes to train them to become talents himself. I promise. Kirby agreed first. I agree too. Also, may I ask what the task is? Tashigi also agreed, but she was curious about what kind of task required two such young Marines to complete. Seeing the awe-inspiring attitude of the two who were willing to go up the mountain of swords and down the sea of fire for Marine, Garp was shocked, and then handed the information and reward order of the Zwei pirates to the two little guys for a look. Then he gave a general explanation to the two of them. Zwei pirates has a secret cooperation with our Marine, which is equivalent to our Marines undercover in the pirate circle. However, they were not born in Marine, their cooperative relationship is not strong, and there are few constraints. They need to deploy undercover agents to keep abreast of the dynamics of the Zwei pirates, and to inquire about the character traits, strengths and weaknesses of all the crew members, as well as some unknown purposes. It just so happens that Sikong Ye, the captain of the Zwei pirates, wants to recruit you by name. At that time, you can enter the Zwei pirates openly and carry out the undercover plan secretly. This is equivalent to putting an invisible shackle on the Zwei pirates. Of course, with Garp's brain capacity, it is impossible to think of such a plan. It is all calculated by Marshal Sengoku and Staff Crane. To put it bluntly, the three Marines always plan to let the Zwei pirates go undercover into the pirate circle, and then let Tashigi and Kebi go undercover for the Zwei pirates to travel mission. Impossible strategy. Not only that, they also plan to train a large number of undercover pirates according to the mission. Impossible model, and throw them all into the sea. 3 years later, if all undercover agents in the future become 4 emperors, Marine will be able to win without a fight. After listening to Garp's explanation, Tashigi and Kebi took turns looking through the materials, keeping all the key points in their minds, and reading them several times if they couldn't remember them, appearing extremely serious. 2 hours later, Tashigi had memorized all the contents, and Kebi only memorized the outline, and then all the materials were recovered and incinerated by Garp. Mr. Garp, I haven't finished watching. If you don't remember, ask Tashigi. From now on, Tashigi will be your commander, and all actions will be directed by Tashigi. After 2 observations, Garp D is more calm and intelligent than the older Sichi, so he exhorted Kebi. Yes. Kebi stood at attention and saluted without any dissatisfaction in his heart. Yes, sir. Tashigi also saluted and accepted the order. Biak, before you go undercover, you need to complete a special task. In the temporary prison of the warship, Zoro's hands were handcuffed by Seastone, and he collapsed weakly in a corner of the prison. If he didn't pay attention, he thought there was a pile of grass growing in the corner. Damn, Captain, you are so dishonest, you actually abandoned me. Luffy's grandpa is even more hateful. It's fine if you catch me, but he won't give you food. Zoro is in a terrible mood at the moment, hungry and weak, his hands are bound and he can't even practice. If he is locked up for a few more days, he will be surpassed by other friends. Click. Suddenly, the prison door was unlocked. 2 kids walk in, take out a bunch of keys and go directly to Zoro's handcuffs. Huh, Kuina, why are you here? Aren't you on a fishing boat with Ace Sabo? Zoro, who had regained his freedom, couldn't help being surprised to see Kuina appearing suddenly. I am not Kuina, my name is Tashigi. Tashigi pushed his glasses back, grimacing. Anyone who is wronged will not feel so good. Not Tashigi. Zoro frowned and pondered for a while, then suddenly realized that Kuina has short hair and never wears glasses. Then who are you? Stretching his left hand towards the handle of the knife, Zoro watched the 2 strange children warily. Tashigi. I am Tashigi, the captain of the Swordfish Pirates, and this is my younger brother Kirby, who will replace the deputy captain. Swordfish Pirates. Zoro wondered. He doesn't remember anything about his association with the Swordfish Pirates. Because I like to collect famous swords, and my younger brother likes to fish, they are called the Swordfish Pirates. Tashigi simply explained. I don't know you guys. Zoro shook his head lightly. It doesn't matter if you don't know each other. Our Swordfish Pirates were established because of our admiration for the Zwei pirates. After learning that you were captured by Marine, we sneaked in while Vice Admiral Garp led Marine to arrest the important cadres of the Golden Lion Pirates. Come in, and plan to rescue you out. Zoro, you explained it in such detail, it made me more vigilant, hey. It doesn't matter. Anyway, this excuse is used to fool the outside media. Tashigi didn't think Vice Admiral Garp's excuse was so bad. Zoro, good guy, you actually admit frankly that those words just now are all lies. Zoro, you should already know that your captain has cooperation with Marine, and we are the people your captain named to recruit, so you must take us to find your captain next. In the end, Tashigi still told the truth to Zoro. After hearing the truth, the latter asked the captain in the group to confirm the authenticity, and then completely let go of his guard. Zoro. Okay, I'll take you to find the captain now. Kirby, Tashigi. Chapter 111. Arriving in Koko Yasi, Ace and Sabo board the ship. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. What's wrong? After Zoro walked out of the prison, he found Tashigi and Kebi still standing there, and couldn't help but wonder. Tashigi turned around and said, I don't need to bother you about leading the way, you just need to tell me where your captain will go next stop, and we will take you there. What do you mean by that? Do you think I'm an idiot? Zoro was angry. Whoever takes the right seat, whoever, is a Lukai. You. Okay, can you two stop arguing, we are still on the warship, it will be terrible if we are discovered. Kebi is about to cry, who are these people? The two pirates actually quarreled on the warship of Vice Admiral Garp, the hero of Marine, for fear that Marine would not know that they were escaping from prison. When Zoro and Tashigi heard this, they kept silent. The three of them left the warship one after another, boarded the small sailboat that Garp had prepared for them, and slowly sailed away from the floating sea area where the warship was rampant. The small sailing boat is not big enough to accommodate 3 people sailing. It is exactly the same as the small sailboat in which Luffy and Kirby meet in the original book. Kobe was in charge of paddling, and Zoro and Tashigi sat at two ends, sulking. Apparently Zoro has a problem with being called a Lukai, and Tashigi really hates this kind of person who can't face up to his own shortcomings. Brother Zoro, where are we going next? Gonbi sat in the middle and scratched his head in embarrassment. Go to Kokoyasi village, the captain's next destination is there. Okay. Half a month later, the fishing boat driven by Sikong Ye finally arrived at the port of Kokoyasi village. Sikong Ye jumped off the fishing boat, and saw the Emperor Star moored at the edge of the port at a glance, but the Emperor Star was affected by the invisibility of the ship, and it would reduce its sense of existence when it was not sailing. So until now, no villagers have noticed that a pirate ship appeared in the port, and the Kwandangi Star is an ordinary fishing boat. After Ace Sabo jumped off the fishing boat, he also noticed the Emperor Star, and the crew will not be affected by the invisible ship. The Emperor Star is small in scale, and its outer shell is made of special alloy. The overall color is silvery white. The purple flag fluttering and the spacious and bright deck make Ace Sabo's eyes shine. As this our pirate ship. It feels so cool. Ace was instantly attracted by the alloy shell of the Emperor Star. Makino, who had just disembarked, noticed the existence of the Emperor Star when he heard Ace's exclamation, but he ignored it after a while, and instead looked around the island to find Luffy. Unfortunately, Luffy has not arrived at Kokoyasi village yet. After Sabo was amazed, he became worried immediately. As this boat a bit small, we have 10 people and 1 dog, and Captain, don't you still want to recruit 2 partners in Kokoyasi village, plus the Tashigi and Kebi introduced by Zoro in the group before, I'm afraid it will live not that many people. When Kuina heard this, she frowned. The 2-bedroom cabin was too small for her to sleep alone. If 2 people squeezed into a bed, it would be even more uncomfortable. If it's really too crowded, then I'll live on the Heroic Spirit ship. Currently there is only Aunt Ben on the Heroic Spirit ship. It will definitely be a lot more spacious for 2 people to live in a second ship. Kuina secretly thought. You don't have to worry about the space issue of the Emperor Star. I will change to a bigger ship in a few days. Sikong Ye vowed. These days, he has completed the 18 side quests required by the main quest. These include fishing 100 caddies, catching a medium-sized sea kings, and hitting 20 floats. All kinds of fancy tasks are endless. Even the previous 2 tasks of cleaning Goa Kingdom and sailing for 30 days were successfully completed. A total of 13 hull facilities were awarded, including 5 seastone bracelets, seastone swimming pool, gravity training room, micro air conditioner, music player, projector, stainless steel kitchen set, energy converter and solar panels. Regular missions, total wealth achievement missions, and side missions have all reached the standard, and the remaining missions with a total reward of over 10 million can complete the main mission and upgrade the Emperor Star. But during this time, Garp has been busy dealing with the remnants of the Golden Lion, and most of the marine branches of East Blue have been sent to suppress the civil unrest in the Kingdom of Goa, so the renewal of the reward order has been delayed day after day. Otherwise, what Sikong Ye sees now is not a narrow and small two-masted screw boat, but a bigger and more luxurious new boat. Let's go. Let's take a look on the Emperor Star first. After Sikong Ye greeted, he took the lead to jump on the asterisk god and lowered the ladder, followed by Kuina and others to board the ship. Asking for flowers, Ace looked here and there, stroking the outer shell of the Emperor Star, with a look of enjoyment on his face from time to time. On the other hand, Sabo is much calmer, just standing on the deck and looking at the sea. The gentle Makino was also impressed by the warm and breezy style of the Emperor Star, and even had the idea of traveling in the sea on the Emperor Star. Ding. Intern Ace is boarding, please choose the boarding package. Option 1. Fire Dragon Slayer Magic. Option 2. Mangekyo Amaterasu. Option 1. Steel Escape. Moreover, Mangekyo Sharingan is not only an ability of Amaterasu, but also has conventional abilities such as illusion and copying, and can even use a Zanaki to rewrite the reality that is not good for him. When Ace and Sabo boarded the ship one after another, an electronic prompt sounded in Sikong Ye's mind at the right time. Ace's 3 options are related to fire. Similarly, choosing Ryujin Jaka in the early stage can only be like Zoro, with a handful of Senbonzakura, but Shikai has not even learned Ding yet. After careful consideration, Sikong Ye finally helped Ace choose the Fire Dragon Slayer magic. After a quick glance at the introduction, Sikong Ye has a certain understanding of the 6 options. However, as the crew's first gift bag, of course we must choose the most practical one at the moment. Option 3. Zanpakutō Ryujin Jaka. Option 3. Iron Dragon Slayer Magic. Even if it is weakened by the system to the ceiling temperature of One Piece's world, it still deserves the name of Zanpakutō, the strongest hot element. Ace is taking the route of physical skills, choosing Amaterasu and Ryujin Jaka is not a good match after all, and the crew can receive 2 gift packages in the future. If Amaterasu and Ryujin Jaka are opened again, they can still choose. If Amaterasu is chosen, it is estimated that like his Rinne Sharingan, the development will start gradually from 1 Tomo Sharingan. Option 2. 18 Dragon Subduing Palms. Amaterasu has a saying that it can never be extinguished until it burns its target. Fire Dragon Slayer magic includes 2 aspects of flame control and melee combat. It can be regarded as a relatively comprehensive ability of melee, long range and physical magic. Ding. Intern Sabo is boarding, please choose the boarding package. As for Ryujin Jaka, it is even more powerful. Zanpakutō is the strongest in the hot department, and the flame temperature is enough to throw off a Kainu's lava fruit hundreds of streets, reaching the core temperature of the sun. Chapter 112 Beating and Pointing, the reunion with the 3 of Karina. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. Among Sabo's 3 options, Sikong Ye directly ruled out Steel Dun and Zhonglong 18 Palms. In fact, the Iron Dragon slaying magic is a bit like a combination of the former 2. It not only has the defensive power of Steel Escape, but also has the method of subduing and slaying dragons. Sikong Ye can't choose the castrated version instead of choosing the more comprehensive ability. System, I choose Fire Dragon Slayer Magic and Iron Dragon Slayer Magic. As soon as the selection was completed, Ace and Sabo felt something strange in their bodies, and they closed their eyes to feel the changes in their bodies. After a while, the 2 opened their eyes, and their eyes burst out with a breathtaking soul. Captain, this is. Sabo was astonished as he felt the changes in his body. Be careful, this is the boarding gift bag given to you by the captain. Sikong Ye has his hands behind his back, showing an open-minded and heroic spirit. The 2 little ones immediately felt the 263 agitation, and wanted to rush over and rub the snot on him like Luffy got the gift bag back then, and was kicked away by Sikong Ye. Remember, if someone asks about your devil fruit in the future, tell them it is the flame dragon fruit and metal dragon fruit of the phantom beast species. Sikong Ye exhorted. In the world of One Piece, all the strange abilities can be evaded on devil fruit, which is also one of the means by Sikong Ye to hide the system. Even if someone gets to the bottom of the lie, they will only find out that his previously rumored dark enhancement has increased the ability of devil fruit, but he does not know that this is just a second mask he has woven. Sometimes what is uncovered is not necessarily the truth, it may also be a second layer of lies. And it's so honorable to spread the word of devil fruit disguised as a phantom beast. As for whether it will cause trouble, Sikong Ye is too lazy to think about such trivial matters. Has he caused less trouble since he went to sea? What kind of pirates are you always looking forward and backward? Just go home and farm. Good. Ace and Sabo readily agreed. In fact, none of them knew what devil fruit the captain had forced them into before, they just knew that one was a Logia flame fruit, the other was a Paramesha vault grain fruit. Ace, don't rely too much on elementalization and fire control. It's best to lay a solid foundation now and train hockey and 6 styles. For the fate of Ace in the original book, I can sum it up in one sentence, that is Mera Mera fruit for success and Mera Mera fruit for failure. Because of the existence of Mera Mera fruit, Ace gained the fame of Fire Fist. However, because of this fruit, Ace had a hard time meeting opponents in the first half of the Grand Line, and directly challenged Whitebeard in the second half. The result, of course, was a crushing defeat. However, Ace joined when he couldn't beat him. After that, he was protected by Whitebeard very well. At the age of 20, Conqueror's haki only grasped the surface. As for Luffy, in the original book, he was always hammered by Ace when he was a child, but he mastered Conqueror's haki at the age of 19. It is enough to show that Ace really slacked off a lot in the later stage. I see. Ace responded with some reluctance. Seeing this, Sikong Ye didn't say much, and told Luffy to beat him up a few more times in the future to be honest. You must know that now Luffy has mastered a full set of Conqueror's haki and Marine 6 styles, playing Ace is probably like Garp hitting his grandson. Sabo, you must take the route of pure meat output, integrating offense and defense, so haki and 6 styles are your majors. In addition, you have to try to combine the gold element in the fruit ability and the iron element in the dragon slaying magic, and strive to fuse a stronger alloy than gold and iron alone. After beating Ace, Sikong Ye began to point out Sabo again, especially the research and development of alloys as the top priority. Whether for combat or other purposes, alloys are much more practical than single metals. Sabo's eyes lit up when he heard the words. This was something he hadn't thought about before, and now that the captain brought it up, he suddenly felt enlightened. I will work hard, Captain. Sabo responded energetically. Sikong Ye nodded, and then said, let's go, first go to Karina and the others. After wandering around on the Emperor Star, Sikong Ye did not find any trace of the 3 of Karina, presumably they were in the village. Leave Boki on the Emperor Star to watch the house. Sikong Ye and his party of 5 walked into Koko Yasi village. The village is not big, and along the way you can see many villagers selling vegetables, fruits and fish at their doorsteps. It's hard to imagine that the arrival of the dragon pirates 2 years later would cause panic in such a peaceful and harmonious village. You 3 little pirates, don't run away, see if I don't teach you a lesson. At this moment, Sikong Ye and the others heard a shout coming from the front. Then they spotted Karina, Usopp and Kaya running around the corner. And behind the 3 of them, a middle-aged man in police uniform with a windmill stuck on his head was chasing after him, and he ran around. His exhausted appearance seemed to have reached the limit. With a windmill on his head. Could it be that this man is a Jian, the policeman of Kiki Yaxi village? Sikong Ye looked strange. To be honest, he feels that a Jian is more suitable to be the village head of Fengche village than Shilapu. There is no way. Why is this feature so obvious? In the original book, the windmills and oranges that Nami tattooed on his shoulders very easily reminded him of Windmill Village and Orange Town. However, Nami's tattoo has nothing to do with these 2 places. The windmill represents a Jian, the policeman who is like an adoptive father, and the orange represents Bell-mère, the adoptive mother who planted the orange orchard. Captain. Usopp's sharp eyes were the first to spot Sikong Ye and his party. Captain. Karina and Kaya shouted happily afterwards. Huh, Captain. Could it be? Ajien frowned when he heard the shouts of the 3 brats in front while he was chasing wildly. He has seen the reward order of the Zwei pirates, and knows that the 3 of Karina are all pirates, and their captain is naturally the captain of the Zwei pirates. Suddenly, there was an expression of shock on his face. The 2 sides met. Sikong Ye smiled slightly after seeing the energetic K2.6 and the energetic Usopp. Several people greeted each other. Sikong Ye asked Kaya, what did you do? Why did the policeman arrest you? Kaya stuck out her tongue. We didn't do anything wrong, it's just that we were discovered by their adoptive mother when we invited Nuo Chigao and Nami to board the boat. Then their adoptive mother wanted to arrest us, but they couldn't, so they called the policeman to help. After listening to Kaya's narration, Sikong Ye suddenly felt dizzy. Bell-mère, who used to be a marine, picked up 2 babies on the battlefield, and then lived an ordinary life of retirement and childbearing. This is a marine who is as righteous and kind as Mr. Garp. It is basically impossible for Bell and Mel to let Nuo Chigao and Nami go to sea. Chapter 113 Sister Nuo Chigao, I'm going to buy a few caddies of oranges. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. Why do you Zwei pirates keep staring at Sister Nuo Chigao? The station policeman Ajien hesitated for a long time at the corner, and finally he mustered up the courage to stand up and question Sikong Ye and his party's purpose. These days, the 3 of Karina will approach Sister Nuo Chigao from time to time, and plan to recruit the 2 sisters to join the Zwei pirates. If it weren't for the fact that the 3 of Karina were still children and had never burned, killed or looted, Ajien would have directly contacted Marine to arrest them. But no matter what, he will never let Nokigao and Nami become pirates. As a pirate, recruiting companions is not a matter of course. Sikong Ye spread his hands. No, you are short of money, I can give you all my belongings, but it is absolutely impossible to take Nuo Chigao and sisters away. Going to sea to be pirates will only harm them. Ajien clenched his fists, his face extremely determined. Seeing this scene, Sikong Ye was completely helpless. An ex-marine Bell is difficult enough to deal with. Unexpectedly, the policeman Ajien also came to meddle in it. This is really difficult. How about grabbing it directly? A bold idea suddenly popped up in Sikong Ye's mind. 14 and this idea is very feasible. When the time comes, let Mr. Garp come over to appease the emotions of the villagers, and everything will be solved easily. As a pirate, robbing people shouldn't be too much, right? Temporarily suppress this thought, it is not the last moment, there is no need to break the face with Jien and Bell-mère. Nami's dream is to become an excellent navigator. I don't think I have any aversion to going to sea, but I can start from this angle. It's a pity that the dragon pirates won't come to East Blue until 2 years later, otherwise he can use this to recruit Nokigao and Nami. Karina, do you know where Bell's Orange Grove is? Hearing her captain's question, Karina nodded and said, I know, their family lives in the eastern outskirts of Kokoyasi village, and the orange orchard is in the grove in their backyard. Take me over there to have a look. Sikong Ye and his group were about to walk towards the orange orchard, but Ajien stopped in front of the crowd with an unusually dignified expression. What are you doing in the orange grove? I'm going to buy a few caddies of oranges. Why, you have to take care of this. Sikong Ye squinted at Ajien, and always felt that Ajien looked like the kind who licked a dog until nothing was left. Ajien was stunned, and for a moment he really couldn't find a reason to intervene, so he could only get out of the way resentfully. But just in case, he still decided to follow behind Sikong Ye and his party. Several people walked through 3 streets all the way, entered a small road leading to the outskirts, and walked along the small road. Weeds and bushes were overgrown along the way. After walking for 5 minutes, I saw an orange orchard intersected by green and orange. At this time, it was the beginning of autumn, and the orange orchard was also in the harvest season. Bell-mère with long pink hair is picking oranges with short blue-purple-haired Nami and Nami with short orange hair. The faces of the 3 people are filled with pure and innocent smiles, like a beautiful and peaceful rural picture scroll. Holding a small pot of oranges, Nami walked towards Bell-mère slowly, and asked in a showy tone. Bell-mère, look, I picked this pot of oranges, how much is it worth? Little girl, don't think about money. But I don't think about money, how can I have the motivation to pick oranges? Bell-mère. Nuo Chigao. At this moment, Bell-mère noticed that someone was approaching the orange orchard, and immediately looked in the direction of Sikong Ye and his party. When she noticed Karina, Usopp and Kaya, her complexion suddenly collapsed, and she stared at the latter coldly with her arms folded. Seeing this, Nuo Chigao and Nami also looked over curiously. When they found Karina and Kaya, the 2 sisters happily greeted their acquaintances. Karina, Kaya, you come to play with us again. Nuo Chigao, and Nami, you are picking oranges. Karina and Kaya also smiled back, and soon the 4 of them were fighting together. Seeing this, Sikong Ye looked strange, why he always felt that Director Nuo and Nami treated Karina with great enthusiasm. Is it because of looks? After thinking about it, there is indeed such a possibility. The setting of Karina in the original book is the combination of Nuo Chigao and Nami. Karina has a hair color similar to Nuo Chigao, and at the same time has a similar face and money-obsessed personality to Nami. It may not be impossible for the 3 of them to have a good relationship. Seeing that her 2 daughters didn't have a long memory and ran to play with the pirates, and didn't listen to her adoptive mother's words at all, Bell-mère's face was gloomy, and the toothpick in his mouth suddenly tasted bad. What are you doing here? Nuo Chigao and Nami will never allow you to become pirates. I advise you to give up your mind as soon as possible. Nami was instantly unhappy when she heard the words. She still wanted to go to sea to draw charts and become an excellent navigator. Why doesn't Bell-mère let her be a pirate? These days, according to the information provided by the captain, Karina has become good girlfriends with Nuo Chigao and Nami. At the same time, by describing the beauty of the sea, Nami couldn't wait to go to sea. If it weren't for the kindness of Bell-mère's upbringing, she might have agreed directly. However, Nuo Chigao was much more rational, and seemed to have little interest in going to sea. No matter how much Karina and the 3 persuaded her, she never made a statement. I said no. As Bell-mère said, he punched Nami's head with a fist, and directly punched out a bag. Good 127 pain. Seeing the squabbles of several people, Sikong Ye smiled and ignored them, but took the lead in checking the panels of Nami and Nuo Chigao. Potential partner. Nami. Available position. Team Greedy Wolf. Assessment of combat power. F class. Own features. Airflow sensing, 3%. Potential partner. Nuo Chigao. Available positions. Breaking the army. Assessment of combat power. F class. Included features. None. Seeing that both Nami and Nuo Chigao have the potential to become crew members, the corners of Sikong Ye's mouth rose, and then he said to Bell-mère. This aunt, we are not here this time to recruit, we just want to buy a few caddies of oranges. What did you call me? Miss Bay. That's about the same. How much caddy do you want, and I'll give it to you. Bell-mère withdrew the expression of wanting to choose someone just now, and asked with a smile. 30 caddies. Sikong Ye subconsciously wiped off his sweat, but he didn't expect to be called a sister even after being a mother. After buying the oranges, Sikong Ye and his group were directly driven out of the orange orchard by Bell-mère. On the contrary, Ajien stayed and didn't know what to say to Bell-mère, which caused the latter's face to become more serious. Chapter 114 Luffy leads the wolf into the house, Zoro encounters 2 idiots. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. On the way back to the Emperor Star, Sikong Ye was not distressed at all, on the contrary, he was very satisfied. I thought that Nuo Chigao would not meet the potential standard like Makino, but I didn't expect Nuo Chigao to have the potential to join the Pojun team. Captain, Have you already thought of a way to recruit new Ochigao and Nami? Karina noticed the change in Sikong Ye's expression, and couldn't help asking in a low voice. Hearing this, Sikong Ye shook his head. Aunt Bei is too principled, it is difficult to recruit new Ochigao sisters from her side. But new Ochigao and Nami are relatively sensible children, as long as Aunt Bei does not let go, they will never board the boat. Sikong Ye's words made everyone fall into silence. Even Sikong Ye himself finds it tricky. He has a lot of ways to fool the sisters new Ochigao into agreeing to join the Zui pirates. But in the end, whether the new Ochigao sisters are willing to board the ship and go to sea, Sikong Ye still wants to give them the right to choose. The heart of the boat may increase the weight of the Zui pirates in the hearts of the two sisters, but it will never exceed the weight of Bell-mère in their hearts. That is to say, even if they really fooled them into joining the Zui pirates and were influenced by their wishes, the result might not be so good. Open black lens bracket Luffy. At Jizu, my new friends and I have arrived in Koko West Village, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Luffy. At all members, I saw the Emperor Star, why are you not on board? Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Luffy. Ah, Dayton's dog, I'm Luffy, don't bite me, close black lens bracket. Suddenly, a series of reminders came from the group chat, and the partners looked into the group after their thoughts were interrupted. But only Makino stood there with a pensive look on his face, unaware that Luffy had already arrived at the port of Grand Kokoyasi village. Sikong Ye checked the group chat messages while returning to the Emperor Star. Open black lens bracket Sabo. At Luffy, why did you arrive at Kokoyasi village only now? It stands to reason that your friend's boat is very big, and the distance is not far away. It should arrive earlier than us by fishing boat. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Luffy. They didn't know the location of Kokoyasi village at the beginning. They first went to Rog Town to buy a detailed map, and then sent me to Kokoyasi village. Close black lens bracket. After listening to Luffy's explanation, Usopp was even more confused, so he asked about the unreasonable part of the main fleet vice admiral. Open black lens bracket Usopp. At Luffy, you just said that they don't have a detailed map, so why did they promise to send you to Kokoyasi village? Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Luffy. Hey, I don't know, they must be kind enough to help me. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Karina. At Luffy, they even went to Rog Town to buy a detailed map in order to send you to Kokoyasi village, this is not like what a pirate would do. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Luffy. Where is it different? I will do it. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Zoro. You are so proud. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Luffy. At Zoro, have you arrived at Kokoyasi village yet? Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Zoro. Soon. The two guys on the boat are road idiots, they went in the wrong direction. Town. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Kaya. As I remember, the town of Shields is located in the sea not far from the kingdom of Goa. Are you getting farther and farther away from Kokoyasi village? Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Ace. It took us more than half a month to set off from Fengche village. It seems that even if you are lucky enough to find the right direction, it will probably be more than half a month before you arrive at Kokoyasi village. Close black lens bracket. Seeing a series of bullet screens swiping the screen, the corner of Sikong Ye's mouth twitched. None of these two guys can worry. Needless to say, Zoro, anyway, it's not Zoro's fault this time. But he didn't expect Tashigi and Kirby to get lost too. Maybe he was too young and had no experience in going to sea for the first time, so he lost his way. To be ridiculed by a real road idiot, this will definitely become a dark history for Voss and Kirby. As for Luffy's question, Sikong Ye felt that there was something else hidden. He had asked Luffy about the identities of the pirates before, and Luffy told him that they were called Pineapple Head, Airplane Head, Shark Head and Black Fatty. Regardless of whether Luffy was talking about a person's name, code name, or appearance, Sikong Ye couldn't find the original character who was right for him, so he didn't care too much. No one can kill Luffy even if the pirates have evil intentions. It will even be repaired by Luffy in reverse, and finally Luffy will be honestly sent to Kokoyasi village. But now he found the problem between the lines. In order to send Luffy to Kokoyasi village, this group of pirates went to Rog Town to buy a detailed map. You must know that Kokoyasi village is just an inconspicuous small village, which is not marked on the general map, and only some merchant ships in charge of doing business, or people wandering in the nearby seas will know. It stands to reason that if the other party didn't know the location of Kokoyasi village, they probably wouldn't agree to give Luffy a ride. But the other party took a lot of trouble to deliver Luffy to Kokoyasi village. If it is said that this group of pirates is purely for helping others, no one would believe it. Obviously, their target is not Luffy, but the Zui pirates. Open black lens bracket group leader. At Luffy, do you know what those people are called? Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Luffy. Didn't I tell you, the captain, that they are called Pineapple Head, Airplane Head, Shark Head, and Black Fatty? Close black lens bracket. Group leader. Is this their real name or code name? Or, these code names are actually given to them by you yourself? Close black lens bracket. Sikong Ye suddenly remembered that when Luffy and Dorag met in Shimotsuki village, Luffy was called Dorag the Uncle Bald Eyebrow. Maybe these codenames are not the original codenames of the pirates, but the nicknames Luffy randomly picked up. Open black lens bracket Luffy. That's right, it sounds good. Close black lens bracket. Seeing this message, everyone was speechless. Luffy ah Luffy. A brain is a wonderful thing, but it's a pity you don't have one. Group leader. Then what was their original name? Wang's Zhao. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Luffy. I remember they are called Mal Dog, Samoyed, Border Collie and Husky. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Lord. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Sabo. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Kaya. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Zoro. Close black lens bracket. Opening square bracket comma closing square bracket. Opening square bracket comma closing square bracket. Open black lens bracket Karina. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Usopp. Close black lens bracket. Goddamn Mal Dog, Samoyed, Border Collie and Husky. Are you talking about a person's name? 3 of them are dog breeds, okay. As for what kind of dog a Maltese is, Sikong Ye didn't bother to delve into it, so he immediately replied in the group. Group leader. At Luffy, now ask them again what their names are. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Luffy. Oh, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Luffy. Captain, I asked, they said they were Marco, Thatch, Namuel and Teach. No close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Lord. Close black lens bracket. Chapter 115. Zwei and Whitebeard, Sikong Ye fudge Teach. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. Seeing these 4 familiar names, Sikong Ye was immediately taken aback. Unexpectedly, the Whitebeard pirates found East Blue. Although he had already guessed that Teach would come, he never expected that there would be 3 captains following Teach. In this way, the number of enemies to face has quadrupled, and Marco is a powerhouse at the Emperor's deputy level, and one person can fight against a Marine Admiral. Although Marco is still very young and may not be at his peak combat power, the current 3 admirals are also not at their peak. Coupled with Marco's mastery of the air, even Garp will not easily provoke him. It's a little troublesome now. Sikong Ye frowned tightly. The original Blackbeard version of the Summit War plan was gone. He was worried that Marco would side with Teach and join forces to deal with their Zwei pirates. Captain, Captain. Kuina gently pushed Sikong Ye. Sikong Ye came back to his senses and turned to face the crowd. Kuina, Karina, you 2 immediately take all the girls back to Bell-mère's house, and wait for my next order. Ace, Sabo, and Usopp, the 3 of you will return to the Emperor Star with me to meet Luffy's new friends. After explaining, Kuina and other girls didn't take any action. Sikong Ye showed doubts when he saw this. What else do you want? We're going to fight too. Kuina said first. Captain, I heard that the name of the vice captain of the Whitebeard 363 pirate group is Marco. Do you know that you are close to death, so you let us leave? Karina's eyes were slightly red. What? Near death? Captain, I seem to have a disease that will kill me in battle. Can you send me to the girl group, so I can protect them? Usopp, don't be afraid, we brothers go up together, live and die together. Sabo, don't talk about it, this guy is a complete coward. When you said, to live and die together, just now, he was almost scared to pee. Ace, come on, everyone has their strengths and weaknesses. Makino was baffled when everyone said something to each other. What are you all talking about? However, no one answered her, and all the crew members looked at Sikong Ye. Sikong Ye pondered for a moment, then said, don't think too much about bad things. Since Luffy arrived at Kokoyasi village safely under their escort, it is obvious that the Whitebeard pirates came with good intentions. My main purpose in the past was to negotiate with them, not to fight. I know Marco better than you. He is not the kind of person who can kill 10-year-old children. Don't worry. But, there's nothing wrong with it, I'm the captain, and I've promised. Sikong Ye directly interrupted Karina's words, and then walked towards the Emperor Star with Ace Sabo Usopp and the 3 of them without looking back. Usopp was carried away by Ace Sabo. Kuina, we. Karina hesitated to speak, but Kuina shook her head. According to what the captain said, I believe the captain and the others will be fine. Kokoyasi village port. At this moment, all the villagers near the port ran wildly and fled in all directions, because just 10 minutes ago, a pirate ship with the flag of the Whitebeard pirates appeared on the shore. No, the Whitebeard pirates are attacking the village. Run, that's a vicious big pirate. I don't want to die, I don't want to die, I haven't married a wife yet, how can I die here? Who will save me? Woo woo woo. Seeing these ordinary villagers running wildly and screaming, Marco was a little speechless. He didn't expect that just landing on the shore would cause turmoil. It was the same in Rog Town before. When the colonel there heard their names, he abandoned Rog Town overnight and fled, and now he doesn't know where he went. Marco's eyes were focused on the Emperor Star, and Luffy had been in a daze since he got up just now and asked their names. For Luffy, a guy who only knows to call nicknames all day long, Marco has nothing to do. Unexpectedly, today Luffy would take the initiative to ask what their names are, which is very rare. Luffy, where's your captain? Marco asked. Don't worry, Pineapple Head, the captain and the others will be back soon. Luffy Kaido. Marco. Quote. Good guy, I'm direct good guy. What the hell did you just ask our name, and then you forgot all about it? I'm afraid your brain isn't an undeveloped ape, right? No wonder the surname is Monkey, isn't that what monkey means? Huh, just when Marco wanted to ask something, he suddenly felt 4 oars coming towards him. The other villagers are far away from the port, and those who can come to the port at this time must be members of the Zwei pirates. Soon, the 4 of Sikong Ye appeared in front of Marco and the others, and Saki and Teach also looked at Sikong Ye and the others. Teach's eyes are mainly focused on Sikong Ye. Namur still had a dead fish face, unable to tell whether he was in a daze or what. Seeing Sikong Ye, Luffy couldn't help but waved his hands and said, Captain. Usopp. And that, who are you two? Ace. Sabo. Sikong Ye ignored Luffy's offline, but looked directly at Marco. Hey, the group of pirates who helped Luffy come to Yasi village is the famous Whitebeard pirates. Captain Ma, I've heard your name for a long time. I didn't expect you to know me. Hello, my name is Marco, the deputy captain of the Whitebeard pirates and the captain of the first team. This is Sarge. After Marco made an introduction, he looked at Sikong Ye, obviously asking Sikong Ye to introduce his partner. Because the reward order has not been updated for a long time, Ace and Sabo have not been on the list. Many pirates do not know that there are 2 more pirates in the Zwei pirates. Sikong Ye smiled lightly, and introduced politely. Hello, my name is Sikong Ye, the captain of the Zwei pirates, a phantom beast with the ability to venom fruit. Huh, what kind of fruit ability user did you say you were? Teach's eyes widened, a little in disbelief. He remembered that Sikong Ye's reward order clearly stated dark fruit ability user, why now Sikong Ye said that he is a venom fruit ability user. What is the venom fruit? Why hasn't he seen it in the fruit illustration book? However, he has seen Paramesha poisonous fruit in the devil fruit illustrated book. Venom fruit. Sikong Ye didn't show any interrupted anger, but instead showed a playful smile. It is because I know of your existence that I deliberately made up a devil fruit. The so-called venom fruit is actually the venom form of the human fruit of the zone phantom beast species. Chapter 116 Same generation as Teach, Blackbeard is online. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. Hearing Sikong Ye's words, Teach was dumbfounded. I came all the way to East Blue for what, if not for dark fruit? As a result, you now tell me that what you ate was not dark fruit, but venom fruit, are you kidding me? Marco noticed that something was wrong with Teach's mood, but Teach quickly recovered, and the whole person calmed down a lot. You can't be what others say, in case Sikong Ye is lying. And if Sikong Ye doesn't eat Logia dark fruit, it's a good thing for him, he can continue to wait for dark fruit, without having to tear himself apart with Zwei pirates and Marco and others. Little friend Sikong, can you show us your venom fruit? Teach suddenly became obsequious, almost disgusting Sikong Ye to death. But Sikong Ye did not refuse, he was eager to prove it to Teach, so as not to be remembered. At this time, Sikong Ye could be seen. The purpose of Teach is self-evident, it must be his dark fruit. However, the 3 captains, Malkosich and Namur, expressed their interest, and it was clear that Whitebeard behind them was interested in recruiting. If Teach came to East Blue single-handedly, their Zwei pirates would not be able to avoid a battle, but they are not afraid of this battle. The appearance of Marco and others clearly showed goodwill towards the Zwei pirates, which made Teach dare not act rashly for a while. To put it bluntly, because of the existence of Captain Fan, Teach had to refrain from some small actions. But if Teach is really determined to take away his dark fruit, Marco probably will choose to side with Teach in the end. Therefore, the most urgent task for Sikong Ye is to deny his identity as a dark fruit ability user, so that Teach will no longer have his ideas. This may not be possible, my venom fruit ran out by itself. Sikong Ye spread his hands and felt helpless. In fact, he can use the ultra-distance ship to recover the venom, and as long as he pinpoints the 2-day alternate node, it only takes 2 minutes to run back and forth. However, in order not to rely too much on the ability of venom, Sikong Ye has been doing his own exercise recently. In addition, the venom was somewhat taken care of by Zoro, so the venom has not been brought back until now. Run away by yourself. Teach's face was as dark as the bottom of a pot when he heard this, and even the 3 captains of Marco were stunned. Are you sure you mean devil fruit and not husky? Little friend Sikong, this joke is not funny at all. Teach sullenly. Hey, who made a joke with you? Why don't people believe me when I tell the truth? It's not that we don't believe Xiaoyu, it's that what Xiaoyu said sounds like a fairy tale. For Teach's various doubts, Sikong Ye didn't bother to explain. Came directly to the beach, took off the jacket, trousers and shoes, leaving only a pair of shorts, and then jumped into the sea, showing the heroic backstroke to the Whitebeard pirates. 10 minutes later, Sikong Ye climbed ashore, dressed calmly, and looked at Marco, Teach and the others. Look, now I even ran around with the venom fruit with the devil fruit's curse, you should believe it. This. Teach was dumbfounded. It's so big, there are no surprises. There is really a devil fruit that can act autonomously in this sea. It's just unbelievable. Venom fruit is a special kind of phantom beast devil fruit. It has special abilities such as independent thinking and separation. You have never seen it before, and it is normal. According to the venom fruit, I am his first eater. Sikong Ye serious nonsense. After Sikong Ye's detailed explanation, Marco and others finally determined that what Sikong Ye ate was not dark fruit. While Teach felt lost, he also felt a little lucky, at least it meant that the dark fruit hadn't been eaten yet. But in the depths of his eyes, there was a fierce light called greed. It's just that he doesn't intend to make trouble in front of Marco and others at the moment, so he temporarily suppresses the thoughts in his heart. Little friend's fruit is really amazing. Oh yes, it seems that little friend hasn't introduced your other partners just now. Marco, as the captain of the Whitebeard pirates, is a very polite person, especially the Zwei pirates who treat his father very highly. Oh, I was interrupted by the black fat man just now, I almost forgot. Sikong Ye smiled apologetically, but what he said made Teach extremely angry. Teach was going crazy with this title. Asterisk. That's true for the one named Luffy, and it's also true for the captain of the Zwei pirates. Is his name so hard to remember? Why does everyone call him Fat Black? Afterwards, Sikong Ye briefly introduced the partners present. Of course, none of them introduced specific devil fruit abilities. He would not casually expose the details of all the crew members. But for Pochi, Sikong Ye introduced a few more words, which immediately caused Pochi on the Emperor Star to wag his tail and cheer happily. The husky on the Emperor Star is also my partner, a white-haired dog named Pochi who ate the husky fruit. Coincidentally, there are people of the same generation on both sides of us. Sabo and Saki are both Sabo and Teach, Pochi and Teach are both odd character generations. 0. Sachi. Question mark. Hearing Sikong Ye's words, Teach suddenly became unhappy. Why is he the same generation as a dog? There is also Chi in Saki's name, why would Sikong Ye only name him Teach? I suspect you are targeting me Teach. Sikong Ye naturally didn't know Teach's mood at the moment, and continued, because Pochi's fur has changed from all white to half black and half white, and there are mostly black hairs around the mouth, so people gave him the nickname Blackbeard Pochi. Puff. Marco's three captains didn't feel much after hearing this, but Teach was not calm. Blackbeard is the code name he intends to use when he debuts in the future. In the end, it was preempted by a dog, how could he accept it? If he has the same name as a dog in his debut in the future, he will be laughed to death by his peers and subordinates. Ahem, little friend Sikong, is it inappropriate to give a dog a nickname like Blackbeard? I think Wonkai, Laifu, Awang, Duoduo, or Sparta are all pretty good. Before Teach finished speaking, Luffy, who was sitting on the side of the Emperor Star, interrupted directly, picking his nostrils while speaking as a matter of course. I think it's appropriate, Pochi isn't as fat as you. Teach, you can't ignore my beard just because I'm fat. And your stubble is incomparable to Pochi's black hair. Luffy spoke the truth again. Teach. Chapter 117 Luffy mad at Teach, is this rabies? Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. Hearing that Luffy scorned his proud Blackbeard and called it stubble, Teach really couldn't bear it. If it weren't for his image in the Whitebeard pirates as a good old man, he would want to kill this kid now. Look, is this a human language? Anyone with a brain would not compare his beard with dog hair, would he? Luffy didn't realize that Teach's complexion was as dark as the bottom of a pot, reaching the verge of explosion, and he was still talking to himself. I've heard many people say that beards are usually black, and such a vulgar name is perfect for Boki's contemporary name. Hey, speaking of Fatty Black, don't you mean to compete with Botu? Code name. Halfway through the talk, Luffy suddenly recalled it. Fatty Hay tried his best to help Pochi change his code name, could it be that he wanted to use it? Immediately, Luffy looked at Teach with a hint of disdain for 927. It seems to be saying, you want to grab such a vulgar code name. Sikong Ye watched the whole process, almost bursting out laughing. He originally just wanted to use the code name Blackbeard on Boki to make Teach sick, but Luffy jumped out with a sneer and almost made Teach autistic. Ace Sabo and Usopp burst into tears with laughter. They didn't expect that this guy named Teach would actually want to snatch the code name of a dog, that's it. When Marco saw this, he patted Teach on the shoulder in relief. Ha ha ha, like a father, like a son, I didn't expect you to worship your father so much. Brother, I never thought you would compete with a dog for the code name in order to imitate dad, I Sage swear you will be my best brother in this lifetime. Sage said at this time, also pumping Teach's back. Quote. Teach, well done, fight that dog and win Blackbeard's name. Now you're interrupted Blackbeard, with a hint of evil in his words. Apparently, Marco and the others would get excited as long as they talked about things related to dad, even if it was just a beard. Teach really wants to cry this time. Are you really my good brothers? You actually asked me to compete with a dog for a code name. But any individual can't do such a beastly act, right? You guys are trying to discredit me. Luffy saw that the black fat man didn't speak for a long time, so he asked again. I'm curious, your Captain Whitebeard should have a mouth of Blackbeard when he was young. Could it be that Whitebeard was also called Blackbeard? I think it's better to have a curved beard, otherwise it would be so boring to change the code name from black to white. Marco. Question mark quote. Nomuel. Thatch. Ahem, you may not know, the old man has a white crescent shape since he grew a beard. Marco scratched his head and explained helplessly. Why don't you shave it? It's so troublesome to keep it, and it's uncomfortable to sleep on your side. Daddy sleeps on his back, so the beard won't affect the quality of sleep. Is that beard hard or soft, and looks like ivory? Of course Dad's beard is soft, but it looks smoother after spraying with hairspray, so it will look younger. If you want to be young, you might as well grow your beard to be more energetic. Ace Sabo and Usopp looked at Luffy and Marco asking and answering, feeling that the whole person was messy. Did Luffy take the wrong medicine today and turned into 100,000 pills? Why? The corners of Sikong Ye's mouth twitched. Could it be that Luffy fell into rabies after being bitten by Pochi? Now who bites whom? Luffy, don't keep asking questions, it's impolite. Sikong Ye interrupted Luffy, who wanted to continue to ask the bottom line. If the other party got angry when asked, their Zwei pirates would not end well. Luffy closed the conversation box, and Marco was relieved immediately. He was really afraid that Luffy would keep asking like this. Little friend, regarding the matter that Teach wants the Blackbeard code name, I wonder if my friend Pochi is willing to give up. However, before Sikong Ye could speak, Luffy jumped out first, with an extremely serious expression. No, Blackbeard is the code name of our partner Pochi, and we will definitely not give it to you. If you really want, then use the code name Blackbeard too to go to sea. Puff. Teach's eyes popped out, and both eyeballs were filled with bloodshot eyes. Damn kid, let him inherit the code name of Blackbeard too, isn't this calling him a bastard in disguise? Straw Hat Boy, I have endured you for a long time. Hearing this, Luffy scratched his head inexplicably and said, why are you so angry? If the second generation doesn't sound good, then the third generation. What the hell, you're calling me a grandson? Boom. Teach came to Luffy in an instant, punched him without saying a word. This time, he didn't hold back at all, and directly exploded with 80% of his strength, intending to smash Luffy's entire body with a punch to vent his hatred. Sikong Ye saw this, and immediately a Yumi boat spirit appeared above Luffy's head, then released a state, and stopped in front of Luffy. The three-goat jade in his eyes slowly rotated, ready to perform the illusion, but before Sikong Ye could activate the illusion, Marco stretched out a pair of blue flame wings and stopped in front of Teach. Captain Marco, you. Why are you stopping me? Teach's face was full of disbelief, but there was a trace of resentment hidden deep in his eyes. In fact, Teach was not really dazzled, but wanted to use this shot to test the attitude of Marco and others. The result is obvious, Marco still chooses to stand on the side of Zwei pirates. Teach, I can feel that what Luffy said did not mean to be sarcastic, don't care about him as a child. In Marco's indifferent words, it gave Teach an unquestionable momentum. It seemed that as long as he didn't agree, he would experience great terror the next moment. Okay 2.3, I see. Teach finally gritted his teeth and stopped. At the same time, he was sure in his heart that he didn't want to trouble the Zwei pirates for now. The atmosphere then became silent. Sikong Ye saw this, and invited Marco and others to board the boat. Afterwards, Sikong Ye came to the kitchen and used the gourmet machine to make a table of sumptuous food. When he saw a table of delicious dishes, Saki, as a chef, suddenly became restless, and almost every dish reached the pinnacle of the chef world. Whether it is knife skill, taste or heat, it is impeccable. He couldn't imagine that it was made by a 10-year-old boy. Little Sikong, are you interested in worshipping me as a teacher? I will teach you everything I have learned in my life. Looking at the excited Saki, Sikong Ye curled his lips. Let's forget it. Chapter 118. If you can't beat it, then join the Whitebeard pirates. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. As for cooking, Sikong Ye is really not interested. With the existence of a gourmet food maker, would he need something like cooking? # equals. If you have this time, wouldn't it be nice to practice more six style or hockey? After being rejected, Saki was depressed for a while, feeling that he had missed a prodigy in the chef world, so he turned his grief and anger into appetite, and started to eat. The rest of the people also started eating one after another, quickly diluting the unhappiness just now. Even Teach began to apologize to Luffy and Pochi. His gentle and kind-hearted appearance completely eased the atmosphere. Even Luffy was completely fooled by Teach's acting skills and chose to forgive Teach. But Sikong Ye knows that everything that Teach shows is acting, which is better than playing Pelusolino the ape. After half an hour of eating a meal, although Luffy was not full, he was no longer so hungry after the devil's physique improved. Little friend, I wonder if your Zwei pirates are willing to join our Whitebeard pirates. After everyone was full, they came to the deck of the Emperor Star to hold the side of the ship and blow the sea breeze. Marco saw that the timing was almost there, so he asked them the main purpose of their visit to East Blue this time. When the crew present heard this sentence, they were immediately unhappy. Isn't this just the recruitment? Luffy's anger is more obvious. I treat you as friends, but you actually want our Zwei pirates to give you the present. Okay, when our Zwei pirates officially enter New World, we will join your Whitebeard pirates. However, Sikong Ye directly agreed. Without him, the prosperity of the world is for profit, and the chaos of the world is for profit. The advantages of joining the Whitebeard pirates outweigh the disadvantages, so what reason does Sikong Ye have to refuse? You know, their Zwei pirates are now Marine's undercover agent, and with Marine as their guarantee, they are basically safe in the Four Seas and the Paradise. But once they go to New World, Marine can't keep them. Most importantly, he promised to join the Whitebeard pirates so that Marine would be afraid. Once Marine wants to unilaterally tear up the previous agreement, they have to consider the consequences of forcing them to the Whitebeard pirates' camp. That's right, although he reached an agreement with Marine not long ago, he doesn't mind paving another way for the Zwei pirates. As long as Marine lives up to him, it should be that their Zwei pirates fulfill their obligations. And he joined the Whitebeard pirates, maybe the three Marines will be happy that they broke into the Whitebeard pirates when they know about it. In the future, if Whitebeard retires, the next captain will be captured by the Zwei pirates, which is equivalent to planting a king bomb among the pirates. Captain, why, isn't it good for us to do it alone? Luffy didn't understand Sikong Ye's decision, and his whole face was full of anger. We're just going to make a name. The two don't conflict. The Zwei pirates can still continue their sea adventures, and you can still pursue your dream of being the One Piece. Sikong Ye said calmly. After Luffy heard that he could continue to take risks, his anger disappeared immediately, and he became excited again. Both Sabo and Usopp breathed a sigh of relief at the captain's wise move. They are well aware of the strength of Marco and others, and they are worried that the captain will anger the other party if he refuses. Fortunately, the captain is not the iron-headed kid like Luffy. But Ace is sullen, very dissatisfied with Sikong Ye's decision. Little friend, what do you mean by being named? Marco was puzzled. The name means that our Zwei pirates can join you and help each other when we are in trouble, but we don't recognize our father. Sikong Ye's words made Marco and the others frown. The rule of the Whitebeard pirates is to recognize Whitebeard as the father, and all the crew members are brothers and sisters. If you don't recognize your father, isn't that breaking the rules of the Whitebeard pirates? Teach and Saki couldn't bear it, and wanted to teach Sikong Ye a lesson, but they were choked back by Marco's stare. Why? No reason, we can join the Whitebeard pirates, but it's your wish to recognize your father, you can't force it. Sikong Ye said, pointing to the crew beside him, he introduced. Luffy, Ace, and Usopp have no father since they were young, and Sabo's father is a bit of a jerk, and they don't have any feelings about whether they have fathers or not. If Whitebeard can let them take the initiative if you recognize your father, I won't stop you. How about you? I don't know my father. If Whitebeard insists on getting involved with me, I can reluctantly be his brother. Sikong Ye's words immediately made Marco's face collapse. Teach masters all have dark faces. We invited you to join the Whitebeard pirates to be our brothers, but you want to be our uncle. If you want to be Dad's brother, I'm afraid you are not qualified enough. Teach immediately mocked. In this regard, Sikong Ye naturally knows that he is indeed not qualified to call Whitebeard a brother and brother, so he did not deny it. However, Sikong Ye is very confident in his future achievements, and it is definitely well deserved to be called brothers and sisters with Whitebeard. Little friend, I can't decide whether you can call my father brother or brother, but if you just use names, I can still directly decide and agree. Marco pondered for a moment, and finally decided to recruit the Zwei pirates, and shook hands with Sikong Ye with a smile. Sikong Ye, who was hugging his thigh, seemed extremely excited at the moment, not to mention anything else, with Whitebeard covering them, their safety factor would be infinitely higher. And as long as he doesn't deliberately modify the plot of the 480 bandits in the Whitebeard Sea, then the possibility of the Summit War outbreak is not impossible, but Ace will be replaced by another person. And Whitebeard will collapse 80% in the future. He can take advantage of the situation, gather the remnants of Whitebeard pirates, and directly aspire to the four emperors. Although it seems a bit immoral, it is also a matter of no choice. Why do pirates talk so much about morality? If Whitebeard really treats the Zwei pirates kindly, it will be a big deal to reserve a seat for Whitebeard on the heroic spirit ship in the future. Anyway, Whitebeard just wants to raise his son with peace of mind, and the heroic spirit ship is a good place. We will keep this secret before you come to New World, so as to prevent you from being under the special care of Marine. It has to be said that Marco has considered very comprehensively. But Sikong Ye shook his head. With Teach here, he might not be able to hide it for a long time. It's better to announce it directly. Anyway, he is Marine's undercover agent, and Marine will not embarrass them. Don't hide it, Captain Ma. You can just announce the news directly. I believe that with Whitebeard's reputation, no one will dare to tease the tiger's beard. Are you sure? Marco was taken aback. Of course, we have agreed to join anyway, so there is no need to hide. We are pirates, not thieves. Sikong Ye looked determined. Chapter 119 Usopp recognizes the thief as his uncle, Kuina's rejection. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. All right. In the end, Marco agreed to Sikong Ye's proposal. However, there is no rush to announce this matter. Marco and others intend to stay in Yasi village for a while, and then announce it after they leave. For this, Sikong Ye is naturally very happy. It happened that Venom encountered some bottlenecks in practicing armament hockey. After he got Venom back in the early morning tonight, he could ask Marco to help him train armament hockey. So, Sikong Ye told this matter to Marco, and the latter readily agreed. No problem, we are also curious about what your Venom fruit looks like. In addition, the few of us will also help your other crew members practice 6 styles in hockey. Quote. After the two discussed the training, Sikong Ye was planning to leave the port of Yasi village and join Kuina and the others. But Usopp suddenly took a deep breath, stepped forward, stared at Teach, and asked, "Excuse me. Are you my uncle?" Quote question mark. Quote. Sikong Ye. Not only Teach was dumbfounded, even Kong Ye was seriously affected by Usopp's words. Teach is Usopp's uncle. How come I, a time traveler, don't know? You've got the wrong person. Teach directly vetoed it with black lines all over his forehead. But your nose looks exactly like my mother's. Usopp said, pointing to Teach's slightly longer nose. Huh. Teach touched his nose subconsciously, then looked at Usopp's nose, and immediately became angry. My nose is not as long as yours. After saying this, Teach went back to the Whitebeard pirate ship, for fear that he would be pissed to death by these stinky brats if he stayed. Usopp was stunned. My mother is not as tall as me. Seeing this, Sikong Ye twitched the corner of his mouth slightly. He didn't think about it before, but now he saw that Teach also had a long nose when he took a closer look. Could Teach really be Uncle Usopp and Brother Benchina? In terms of age, Benchina is indeed a little younger than Teach. And they both have very similar noses. Could it be that it was because Usopp took Teach's sister to him and went out to sea to have a good time? Teach got angry and tagged red hair pirates when he learned the truth. Because of the red hair's obstruction, Teach failed to kill Usopp, but left 3 scratches on the red hair's face. This thought seems to be possible. Most people fight with their fists. Even in the original book, Teach mostly uses his fists. Why did he leave scratches on the red-haired face? Scratching the face, most of them are moves that can only be used by angry shrews. A series of images gradually emerged in Sikong Ye's mind, but finally he shook his head to clear up these unrealistic associations. Usopp. I once heard Usopp talk about you. Is Usopp really your father? Why doesn't your father have a long nose? Luffy suddenly asked. Hiss. There was a sudden gasp in the audience. Young man, your question is a bit dangerous. Usopp opened his mouth and exclaimed, Luffy, are you saying that fat black man might be my biological father? Clang. On the Whitebeard pirate ship, Teach staggered and almost fell when he heard Usopp's words. My mother, what kind of brain circuit is this? There are too many people with long noses in the sea, why should they catch me? Usopp, don't think about it, your nose should be inherited from your mother. Sikong Ye stood up and explained, popularizing science for this group of people who have no knowledge of biology and genetics. Afterwards, the two sides chatted with each other about some miscellaneous topics, and Sikong Ye and his group bid farewell to Marco and others, and then left the port. Marco and the others all returned to their pirate ship, so as not to scare the villagers of Yasi village further. Teach, you seem to be disgusted with that straw hat kid. Marco walked to Teach, lying on the side of the boat, chatting with Teach while looking at the horizon. Teach said frankly, the hat that kid is wearing makes me very uncomfortable. If I remember correctly, it should be the straw hat that the red-haired guy always wears on his head. That's right, it's that guy. Teach didn't continue, as any further words would involve his secret. By the way, you're not really Usopp's dad, are you? Captain Marco, this joke is not funny at all. It's not funny anymore. If Usopp is really green by you, I can laugh for a year, ha 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 ha. Thatch and Namuel couldn't help laughing when they heard Marco talking to Teach. Number 5. Sikong Ye and his group of 5 returned to Bell-mère's orange orchard again. Why are you here again? Bell-mère held a toothpick in his mouth and looked at Sikong Ye and the others in a sullen manner. The group of girls ran over just now. No matter how hard she chased them away, she couldn't drive them away, and she kept silent when she asked them what their purpose was. With Noli guaranteeing them, in the end Bell could only compromise and let Kuina and the others temporarily stay in the orange orchard. However, it wasn't long before Sikong Ye and his gang came running again. How come? This is using her family's orange orchard as a base camp. You can't let Sikong Ye send her back, can you? Sikong Ye shook his head lightly, expressing that it was nothing serious, and briefly talked about the Zwei pirates joining the Whitebeard pirates. She was relieved when she found out that Luffy was fine. Huh, Sikong Ye was taken aback. Captain, I joined the Zwei pirates only because I approved you. I will do my best to fulfill your orders. But I want to obey Whitebeard's orders, so please forgive me for refusing. But now that people have seen it, how should she go back? Makino didn't listen carefully to what Sikong Ye said, but ran directly to Luffy and checked the latter's injuries. Sister Makino, why did you appear here? Luffy, who didn't know that Makino came to rescue him, suddenly became dizzy. It was just because I was too worried that I followed up on a whim, wanting to see Luffy in person. This time, she said she was going to see to save Luffy, but in fact she didn't help at all, and even if Luffy really encountered an unsolvable danger, she couldn't help much. Makino was a little confused for a moment. I was worried that something might happen to you, so I asked Xiaoyi to bring me out to find you. Makino said, suddenly felt that his behavior of leaving Fengche village to save people, Nuo Lihao, was unnecessary. Luffy, are you okay? Are you all right? At this time, Guyana, Carly and Kaya all gathered around and asked about it. On the other side, Kuina frowned after learning the news that Zwei pirates joined the Whitebeard pirates. As long as she can confirm that Luffy is fine, she will be relieved. Captain, have you considered our feelings like this? Chapter 120 Compromise is not a derogatory term, build a temporary residence. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. Kuina's clear eyes showed a hint of determination and resistance, and her words revealed her strong dissatisfaction with Sikong Ye's arbitrary decision. Hearing that someone was the first to stand up and object, Ace also echoed at this time. Captain, I approve of you, not only because you saved me, but also because I think you are not the same as other pirates, but I didn't expect you to join forces with the Whitebeard pirates. 32. Hearing Ace's reprimand, Sikong Ye was stunned. What's the matter? Didn't you join the Whitebeard pirates in the original book? Among all the people present, you are the only one who is least qualified to say such things, okay. Sikong Ye looked around and saw that only Kuina and Ace objected, indicating that most of the crew were more rational. With Kuina's aloof personality and Ace's fiery temper, it's understandable that the two were somewhat repulsed by his decision to join Whitebeard's team. So, Sikong Ye explained patiently, but it was not a verbal explanation, but a message posted in the group. Group leader. At Ace, at Kuina, the Whitebeard pirates are powerful. If I refuse, it will definitely bring a lot of trouble to the Zwei pirates. Among them is a pirate called Teach who has been playing with my idea of dark fruit. On the 930th, it is rumored that we will only end up with annihilation. Close black lens bracket. Group leader. And I didn't compromise, I just agreed to hang up a name and don't recognize my father. Whitebeard can't order me directly, especially before I arrive in New World, he is even less qualified to order me. You can think of it as a special mode of cooperation. Close black lens bracket. Sikong Ye did not make an oral statement, mainly because he was worried that someone would overhear. The trouble he mentioned is actually not impossible. Although the Whitebeard pirates have a very good impression in the original book, they are still a group of pirates in the final analysis. The Zwei pirates now have a large number of Phantom Beast demon fruit power, as well as the legendary famous sword. He does not believe that Marco and the others are not moved. If the relationship between the two parties is good, Marco will generally suppress his greed, but if the relationship is not good, then he will directly grab it. Coupled with the existence of Teach, if Teach really wants to do something, Marco and the others will definitely stand by Teach. Once things develop into this situation, it will be extremely detrimental to their Zwei pirates. Compromise, the word seems like a pejorative. But in fact, anyone has compromised. Whether it is birth, old age, sickness or death, or natural disasters, human beings have more or less compromised in front of these things. Even if you meet some characters with more money and power, if you don't compromise, can't you be as tough as the iron-headed baby? In fact, the reason why the role of Luffy had a lot of black fans in the previous life is because this guy never has a brain in his actions. No matter how strong the enemy is, he has to be tough. This is of course very passionate, but if it weren't for the protagonist's halo, Luffy would have died many times already. He just agreed to join the Whitebeard pirates, without compromising his dignity and interests, but he could also take the opportunity to gain a lot of benefits. Why not do it? Besides, Brother Xiaoma showed his favor, so if he refused directly, wouldn't he be slapping the other party in the face? Both Kuina and Ace fell silent after reading the message. Although they were somewhat repelled, they all had a little more understanding of the captain's decision, and also understood the captain's painstaking efforts. After all, they are still too weak. Otherwise, why compromise with others? Why cooperate with others? Hey, I said you are enough. This is my territory. If you want to communicate, can you leave my orange orchard? Bell-mère roared, drawing everyone's attention. Who is this ant, so fierce? Luffy whispered. Hey, Luffy, don't talk nonsense, I'm afraid that ant will go crazy. Usopp whispered in his ear. Bell-mère, you talk so loudly, do you really think I can't hear you? Beef, seeing that Bell-mère was about to go crazy, Sikong Ye quickly took out more than 1 million Baileys from the system space and handed it to Bell-mère. Sister Bay, we plan to build a temporary residence in your orange orchard, and the money will be considered as rent. There was no trace of reluctance in Sikong Ye's eyes, and he regarded it as a bride price for his future mother-in-law. Quote. Sensing that Bell-mère wanted to refuse, Sikong Ye added another sentence. Don't rush to refuse. Regardless of whether my money came from a legitimate source or not, at least you earned it from me through formal channels. Besides, you have 2 daughters to raise. You can't let them eat like you every day. Those unnutritious steamed buns and pickles, right? One sentence completely made Bell-mère speechless. The white-haired boy in front of me is right. Why can't my old lady accept the money she earned from the pirates? Well, east of the Orange Grove, there is an open space near the coast, where you can build a temporary residence. After Bell-mère figured it out, he agreed directly, and counted Bailey one by one, looking like a renter. Sikong Ye nodded, beckoning everyone to walk east together. After walking a few steps, I heard Bell's voice behind me. I leased the land to the east to you, but I don't have any other places. In the future, don't set foot in my house and my orange orchard, and don't come to play with my daughter again. Apparently, Bell-mère is still not vigilant towards everyone in Zwei Pirates. Nuo Chigao and Nami lowered their heads and looked disappointed. The sisters still wanted to play with Karina and Kaya. Especially Karina, who has a pair of beautiful black wings that can take her to the sky. It's really fun to play with Karina. Nami couldn't help but daydream. To the east of the Orange Grove, the Yoruichi pedestrians finally found the vacant lot Bell-mère mentioned. The open space is indeed quite large, with a space of 50 square meters, surrounded by a circle of orange trees, and the open space is full of weeds and shrubs. Sikong Ye looked around and nodded in satisfaction. For Bell-mère's previous warning, he didn't take it to heart at all. Nuo Chigao and Nami were recruited, and he was even prepared for a protracted war. Otherwise he would not have thought of building a temporary residence in the Orange Grove. Of course, the most critical thing is to wait for the arrival of Zoro, Kebi and Tashigi. At the speed of Zoro and the others, it will take at least half a month to arrive at Koko Yasi village, and maybe a month at most. And Marine has not updated their reward order for a long time, which makes it impossible to upgrade the Emperor Star. Currently, it can't accommodate so many people, so naturally they can only build a temporary residence outside. Chapter 121 Sikong Ye recovers the Venom and meets the 3 of Zoro. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. Ace, you burn this weeds and bushes with fire, be careful not to burn the surrounding orange trees. Kuina, you control the wind around you to prevent the fire from spreading. Karina, after the ace is finished, you summon the shadow core to dig the soil and compact it, and then dig a fire pit and a drainage ditch. Sabo, when Karina is finished, you will be responsible for building the house, including the living room, bathroom, hut, and bedrooms for men and women. When arranging work for Sabo, Sikong Ye took out all kinds of gold twice as high as him from the system space and piled it up into a hill. Sabo, who has golden fruit and iron dragon slaying magic, is not difficult to manipulate gold to make buildings. Afterwards, Sikong Ye ran back to the Emperor Star and used the gourmet food maker to make a lot of food, put it into the system space and store it, and prepared to hold a banquet after the temporary residence was completed. By the way, bring Boki to the temporary residence. As for the Emperor Star, only a part of the Shadow Core is needed to be stationed. All valuables on the ship were taken away by Sikong Ye. Even if the Shadow Core was wiped out and the Emperor Star was completely destroyed, it would have no effect. When the Emperor Star reaches the 3rd level, even if there is only one piece of iron sheet left, it can still be restored to its original state. Everyone became busy. Even the crew members who were not assigned to work by Sikong Ye, all started to work on their own and were very busy. It wasn't until nightfall that everyone finally completed the construction of the temporary residence. 3 golden conjoined cabins, with a living room in the middle and male and female bedrooms on both sides. Behind the living room, there is a bathroom and a hut, all made of gold. Looking at the magnificent buildings, Sikong Ye burst into laughter, worrying that the billions of treasures collected from the Golden Lion were useless, and could just be used as building materials. It's not that Sikong Ye is extravagant, but Sabo's fruit ability is just right for manipulating gold. Although Iron Dragon Slayer magic can also manipulate other metals, where can Sikong Ye find other metals now? He is poor now except for money, and only a pile of gold, silver and jewels are left. Ace lit the bonfire. Sabo shaped a long dining table in front of the living room, and Sikong Ye put the prepared food on the dining table. In order to celebrate the reunion of everyone, the banquet kicked off. The banquet lasted until 11 o'clock. After the meal, everyone washed up and prepared to go to sleep. Sikong Ye arranged for Pochi to watch the night, and then he used the super distance ship to send it to Zoro before 12 o'clock. In a dark room, Zoro was lying on the bed sound asleep. Suddenly, Zoro's eyes suddenly opened. Swish. As soon as the boat arrived, Sikong Ye felt a little dizzy, and then found that the magic knife Qiandao was resting on his neck. Captain. After Zoro confirmed the arrival, he put the knife back into its sheath, and he didn't look like he almost killed his own captain by mistake. But Sikong Ye didn't care. Zoro was vigilant even when he was sleeping. This cautiousness made him very satisfied. I'm here to recover the venom, and take a look at your recent situation. Sikong Ye said, touching Zoro's shoulder with one hand, and sucked the venom back. Then opened the window to see the outside environment. Outside the window is a sloping street with many shops on both sides, but it has already closed at this moment, and only a few scattered lights are on in the surrounding houses, most of which are hotels or taverns. Are you still in Shield's town? Sikong Ye closed the window and asked. Well, since Tashigi and Kebi brought me to Shield's town, they couldn't tell the direction at all, and Kebi has been complaining that rowing is too tiring, and he plans to follow the merchant ship to Kokoyasi village. Zoro nodded and explained slowly road. However, there is no direct merchant ship to Kokoyasi village, and it needs to be transferred. There will be a merchant ship heading to Orange Town tomorrow, so tonight we found a hotel to rest for the night. After listening to Zoro's description, Sikong Ye thought about it and thought that this method is pretty good, at least he doesn't have to worry about getting lost. The two chatted in the dark for a while, and it was already past 12 o'clock, and the over-distance ship was sent to refresh, and he could return to Kokoyasi village immediately. Just when Sikong Ye said goodbye to Zoro and was about to leave Shield's town, he suddenly remembered that he hadn't met Kebi and Tashigi yet. So Sikong Ye asked Zoro to take him to find Kebi and Tashigi. Zoro nodded, went out the door and turned left to find the escalator and planned to go downstairs. Seeing this, Sikong Ye quickly stopped Zoro. Where are you going? I'll take you to Kebi. Where does Kirby live? Just live next door to me. Begging for flowers. Then what are you doing downstairs? Zoro was speechless for a while. Yeah, what the hell am I taking the captain downstairs for? Zoro smiled awkwardly. Maybe I forgot. In this regard, Sikong Ye was too lazy to complain, grabbed Zoro's shoulder, and went directly to the door next to Zoro and knocked on the door. Boom boom boom. Who is knocking on the door? A cold and quiet female voice came from inside. Sikong Ye looked at Zoro. Didn't you say that Kebi is next door to you? The one who lives here should be Tashigi, and Kebi lives next door. Zoro expressed his innocence. How could he know which neighbor Kebi lived in? Zoro, talk. Sikong Ye pushed Zoro, and his rashness would only arouse Tashigi's vigilance. Tashigi, I'm Zoro, our captain has something to do with you. After Zoro's voice fell, only a sound came from the room, and soon the door opened a gap. Tashigi looked at the situation outside with his long blue hair exposed, and was obviously relieved when he found that there were only Zoro and Sikong Ye, and then opened the door completely. Are you the captain of the Zwei pirates? Tashigi adjusted his glasses and looked at Sikong Ye carefully. Hi, my name is Sikong Ye. My name is Tashigi. I heard that you want to recruit me and Kebi. Is it true? Seeing this, Sikong Ye stretched out his hand and said, Miss Tashigi, I now officially invite you to join the Zwei pirates, are you willing? Don't call me a little girl, I'm obviously a year older than you. Tashigi suddenly frowned. Oh, Sikong Ye's eyes flickered slightly, it seemed that the old guy Garp had imparted a lot of knowledge to Tashigi. Although his age has already been announced on the reward order, but would ordinary girls go to see the reward order? Even if Tashigi is unusual, he shouldn't remember it so clearly, and he didn't even question the contents of the reward order. Although his appearance is immature, but after this period of training, his height has improved a lot, at least 1.6 meters, half a head taller than Tashigi. Sikong Ye appeared in front of Tashigi with such an image, but the other party also believed that he was 10 years old, which shows that the other party got a very reliable source. 5. Chapter 122 Kebi exposed, 6 special devil fruits. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. After a pass analysis, Sikong Ye determined that Tashigi has become Marine. And Tashigi is different from him. He only had the opportunity to get online with Marine through the relationship between Garp and Luffy. It is a cooperative relationship, but that's all. But Tashigi is obviously a regular member of the real Marine establishment. As for Kebi, since he was found and sent together to join the Zwei pirates, he also joined Marine. Sikong Ye didn't care about this, since he asked Marine to help find someone, he had already guessed the result. Garp would not involve ordinary people for a little self-interest, so Sikong Ye had to express Tashigi and Kebi's desire to join Marine. Once it is confirmed that Tashigi and Kirby really want to join Marine, then Garp will not let them join the Zwei pirates at will. Therefore, becoming Marine, 703, and infiltrating the Zwei pirates as an undercover agent is the only way for the two of them. Also the best way for Sikong Ye to recruit Tashigi and Kirby. If you want Sikong Ye to find it by himself, the difficulty is not ordinary. Especially Tashigi and Kirby don't have many memories in the original book, who knows where they were 10 years ago when the plot started. As for Marine's small actions, Sikong Ye didn't care. Anyway, with Chuenshin and Joey in mind, the other party will not do anything that is not good for the Zwei pirates. Okay, instead of calling you little girl, let's call you old lady. Sikong Ye smiled faintly. Tashigi, who had no idea that he had been exposed, had an angry look on his face. You can't do old girls, you can just call me by my name. Seeing Tashigi's angry appearance, Sikong Ye thought it was quite interesting. Tashigi, now I officially invite you to join the Zwei pirates, do you want to? Sikong Ye repeated what he said just now, and his expression became solemn. I do, Tashigi replied with the same serious face. Ding. Regular task. Recruiting partners. The 9th ring has been completed. Please choose Devil Fruit. Option 1. Oil Fruit. Option 2. The Fruits of Nuclear Energy. Option 3. Tidal Fruit. FK. Sikong Ye was shocked when he saw the 3 devil fruits appearing on the system panel. Oil, nuclear, tidal. Isn't this the energy of the previous life, and it happens to belong to the 3 major energy systems? Oil comes from the sun's energy. Nuclear energy belongs to the energy of the planet itself. Tides belong to the energy generated by the gravitational force of the sun, moon and other celestial bodies on the planet. What are you thinking about? Seeing that Sikong Ye didn't respond for a long time, Tashigi asked suddenly. It's nothing. Ms. Tashigi is welcome to join our pirate team. 11. Sikong Ye came back to his senses and put aside the choice of fruit for later consideration. Then asked, does Kirby live on the other side of Zoro? That's right, I'll take you there. Tashigi locked the door and brought Sikong Ye and Zoro to Kebi's room. Boom boom boom. Kebi was woken up, and after inquiring that it was Tashigi, he immediately got up and opened the door. A boy with pink hair and glasses appeared at the door, still looking sleepy. Kebi's figure and appearance are similar to those in the original book when he first appeared, but it is a condensed version, which is a little shorter than the current Luffy. Poor Kebi, he was really ugly when he was a child, and he couldn't see the handsome and resolute image in Summit War at all. Tashigi sister, is there any secret mission to be carried out at this late hour? Tashigi. Sikong Ye, opening your mouth and keeping your mouth shut is a confidential mission, you are afraid that others will not know your identity. Ahem, this is Sikong Ye, the captain of Zwei Pirates. Tashigi hastily introduced Sikong Ye's identity to Kirby, so that the latter wouldn't let his mouth slip. Captain Chuan. Kebi was taken aback and lost all sleepiness. Sikong Ye couldn't help smiling. What is the secret mission you just said? No, nothing. Kebi stuttered, because he had a sense of déjà vu that there was no money in this place. I really don't know what Marine thinks, since he plans to recruit Tashigi and Kebi for his own use, he should at least train the basic quality. This was revealed just after meeting. In case one day Bai leaks the truth and reveals the fact that the Zwei pirates are Marine undercover agents. Tut. Sikong Ye didn't dare to think about it anymore. Fortunately, Kebi has not officially joined the Zwei pirates yet. I just hope that the other party can mature a bit during the voyage to Koko Yasi village, otherwise Sikong Ye would not dare to let Kebi join the group chat, for fear of exposing some important information. Forget it, let's not talk about other things. Let me ask you first, Kebi, are you willing to join my Zwei pirates? Hearing Sikong Ye's words, Kebi stood at attention and saluted without even thinking about it, his movements were very standard. Captain, I do, Sikong Ye, the young master is not Marine, you made me panic like this. If people see this, my undercover identity will be exposed on the spot. Ding. Regular task. Recruiting partners. The 10th ring has been completed. Please choose Devil Fruit. Sikong Ye asked. He also checked the attribute panel before, and no new features were born, but there must be some changes in the Venom. Option 1. Communication Fruit. Returning to host. In theory, different devil fruits have different abilities, which means that fruits of any ability may exist. No, it should be that the upper limit of potential has become higher, and my compatibility with dark fruit has also improved a lot, and I have learned a lot of new abilities. What is it today, Master? I didn't get any other extra abilities, but my body seems to be different from before. Why do the fruits that appear twice in a row don't look like what the One Piece world can have, but instead look like the product of the previous life? Sikong Ye asked the system, and the answer he got left him speechless. Become stronger. He doesn't want to sleep in the same room as those guys who snore 1.8 and talk in their sleep all the time. Option 2. Broadcast Fruit. Sikong Ye. Sikong Ye came back to reality, temporarily did not pull Tashigi and Kebi into the group, and after giving Zoro a few words at will, he used the ultra-distance ship to send them back to the Emperor Star. Option 3. Networking Fruit. Venom, what kind of ability did you gain after injecting the potion? The reason why I came back here is also because it is relatively clean. After listening to Venom's narration, Sikong Ye has a comprehensive understanding, and after Venom has adapted for this period of time, Sikong Ye now has a B-level combat power. Sikong Ye poured himself a glass of water, then sat on the sofa in the cabin, sinking into the consciousness space. Chapter 123 Treasure Boy, the guess that he absorbed multiple fruits. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. After talking with Venom, Sikong Ye began to think about Devil Fruit's choice. With a thought, the selection interface appeared in Sikong Ye's mind. Pull down to check the ability of each Devil Fruit. Petroleum Fruit. Special Paramesha, which has a series of abilities such as changing physique, liquefaction, surveying oil, storage, and converting it into other energy sources and physical strength through combustion. Nuclear Energy Fruit. Special Paramesha has a series of abilities such as changing physique, nuclearization, nuclear explosion, and generating energy and physical strength through controllable nuclear reactions. However, it will be affected by nuclear radiation itself, prone to disease and accelerated aging. Tide fruit. Paramesha, by fine-tuning the gravity of the celestial body, so as to gain the ability to restore physical strength and control ocean currents. Communication fruit. Paramesha, make one-to-one calls with others through brainwaves. Broadcasting fruit. Paramesha, one-to-many and unilateral transmission of audio information with others through brainwaves. Internet fruit. Special paramesha, which has a series of abilities such as physical transformation, digitization, information storage, and many-to-many interactive information transmission and sharing with others through brainwaves. However, if the brain does not have powerful data processing capabilities, it will become an idiot the moment it eats the fruit. Most of the devil fruit options that appeared before were Logia or Phantom Beast, but this time the 6 devil fruits were all paramesha. And oil fruit, nuclear energy fruit and network fruit are the same as categories waxy fruit, all of which belong to special paramesha. Elementalization with Logia. The first 3 fruits belong to the energy category. They can control energy while replenishing physical strength. They are very suitable for protracted battles and people who lack mana like Sikong Ye. The last 3 fruits belong to the communication category and can communicate remotely, which is very suitable for information warfare. Sikong Ye mainly focuses on the 3 special paramesha devil fruits. Anyone with a discerning eye can see that the special paramesha devil fruit is better than the ordinary paramesha. Although Katakuri in the original book is often ridiculed by netizens as the most knowledgeable but has the most trashy devil fruit, there is one thing to say, Nuo fruit is not as trash as imagined. This is the only devil fruit set as a special paramesha before the Wano-kuni chapter, which has the ability to turn elements. As for the Wano-kuni chapter, Sikong Ye only read a few and then crossed over. Whether there will be another fruit of the same kind after that, he doesn't know. To sum up, the special paramesha is both rare and powerful. Sikong Ye considered it and decisively chose the fruit of nuclear energy and the fruit of networking. Although the fruit of oil is not bad, it is still a bit weak in front of the fruit of nuclear energy. Although the fruits of nuclear energy are harmful to the body, but with the escort of Kaya's horse charm, those nuclear radiations do not need to be concerned. The only problem is that using nuclear power fruit will accelerate aging. We must know that the number of cell divisions of each person is limited, and as the division continues to increase, it will continue to age. The essence of using the fruit of nuclear energy is equivalent to carrying out a controllable nuclear reaction of one's own cells, that is, nuclear fission and nuclear fusion. In this way, it will inevitably greatly accelerate the division of cells, which means accelerated aging. Aging is a natural physiological phenomenon, and the horse charm can only treat injuries in abnormal states, but cannot cure aging. Unless you have the dog charm. However, the dog charm can only be used by oneself and cannot be transferred to others. Sikong Ye is not a member of the Greedy Wolf team, so he really can't use the dog charm. Sikong Ye sighed. Talking about lifespan reminded him of the Soul fruit, but the Soul fruit is in New World. He is indeed greedy for nuclear energy fruits, but the side effects are too great, which makes him hesitate. In fact, the nuclear energy fruit is very suitable for Kaya. It can make her instantly become a priest with infinite mana, and her own radiation can be cured instantly. The only thing that needs to be considered is aging. If it's Luffy or Venom, maybe they really don't care about aging. After all, the Devil's physique has almost unlimited vitality, and the Venom physique has strong adaptability, and can resist a series of side effects brought about by nuclear reactions. Because of this, Sikong Ye dared to inject medicine into the poisonous liquid when he was floating on Sky Island. However, both Luffy and Venom have eaten devil fruit at the moment, and cannot eat a second one. Looking at the fruit of networking, you need a brain comparable to a computer to control this fruit, otherwise you will definitely become an idiot. It's not scary to become an idiot, it can be cured by Kaya anyway. The real problem is that after the cure, there is not enough data processing capacity, and it is still unable to drive the fruit of the internet. Despite the serious side effects, Sikong Ye still chose these 2 fruits because he believed that he would have the opportunity to draw characteristics such as infinite lifespan or super brain in the future. As long as he has such characteristics, he can eat one of the fruits. Wait. Sikong Ye seemed to suddenly remember something, and stood up from the sofa in shock. He seems to have forgotten an important thing. Didn't remember until now. And this thing he remembered can perfectly solve the problem of these 2 devil fruits. Sikong Ye didn't sleep all night, and when the sun rose, he got off the boat and came to the temporary residence. Putting a corpse in the system space all the time is also a bit annoying, so Sikong Ye simply took it out for Luffy to absorb. Anyway, this was the nourishment carefully prepared for Luffy. Take it out earlier, and Luffy can help him digest it sooner. Sikong Ye returned to the sofa again, with a weird smile on his face. Next morning, when the Venom is possessed, you can clone a part of the host's ability for your own use. Moreover, Venom's data processing ability is definitely stronger than him. As long as he adapts a little, he can have the computing power of a computer, so as to control the fruit of the internet. Wake up. The girls were startled, and Makino was even more frightened, and ran to an outside orange tree to vomit. You must know that Venom has strong self-healing power and adaptability, and can completely withstand the side effects of nuclear energy fruit injury and aging. Thinking about it this way, Sikong Ye suddenly discovered that Venom was about to usher in a new transformation. No, to be precise, it should be that he is about to usher in a qualitative leap. And Teach's physique is very special in the world of One Piece, he can absorb more than 540 devil fruits. Teach, I have always been afraid of you before, so I almost forgot about you, a precious boy. If the Venom clones this physique, does it mean that the Venom can also absorb multiple devil fruits? After violently waking everyone up, Sikong Ye and his partners woke up completely after washing, and then directly took out a corpse from the system space. Thinking of this, Sikong Ye suddenly became excited. Luffy, swallow him. What Sikong Ye took out was the Golden Lion's body. Chapter 124 Luffy absorbs the Golden Lion, Teach wants to make trouble again. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. Hey, isn't this the big cock that grabbed us that day? Luffy exclaimed. Luffy hadn't seen each other since seeing Golden Lion when he was caught, and now the second meeting happened in this form. When Usopp saw the Golden Lion's body, he was even more furious. He rushed forward and kicked Golden Lion's head a few times. Back then on the floating Sky Island, he was almost crushed to death by the Golden Lion. Both Kurina and Kaya are deeply angry at the Golden Lion, but they don't kick like Usopp. It was just a very ladylike scolding, cause an effect cycle, retribution is not good. Luffy, stop moaning, swallow him quickly. Sikong Ye urged. With a reply, Luffy swallowed and digested the Golden Lion with a big grab. As time passed, after Luffy completely digested Golden Lion, he only felt endless strength all over his body. Sikong Ye checked Luffy's attributes and found that his combat power had been raised to B+ level. Sikong Ye was a little dissatisfied with just rising 2 small realms. But this seems to be normal, it is impossible to swallow a Golden Lion to inherit the full strength of the Golden Lion. 1/10 of it would be as good as the sky. Moreover, every time a level rises, the experience value will increase exponentially. It seems that the increase is not much, but in fact this increase is more than the sum of the previous ones. Afterwards, Sikong Ye summoned the Venom to possess Luffy, and then possessed them one by one. Except for Makino, everyone was possessed by the Venom. Subsequently, the Venom returned to Sikong Ye's body. From Venom's feedback, Sikong Ye learned that the former had gained a lot of benefits. Such as Kurina's Fallen Angel form, Kuina's Wind Spirit form, Usopp's Explosive Physique, Ace's Flame Physique, Sabo's Golden Physique. In fact, there are only 3 physiques that have obvious effects, as for the form of Phantom Beasts, it is dispensable for Venom. Because the Venom itself can transform most creatures and weapons. Cloning the Fallen Angel form and the Wind Elf form is at most a transformation library rich in Venom. When changing similar creatures, you can learn from their muscle texture to increase a certain attribute. Assuming that the Venom can conjure a pair of Fallen Angel wings by itself, it may be able to fly, but it is definitely not as fast and labor-saving as the Fallen Angel. Even if you get used to it gradually, it will take time. But after cloning the flying genes of the Fallen Angels themselves, they can avoid a lot of detours. The Flame Physique does not allow the Venom to generate flames on its own, and it is even more impossible to elementalize it. Instead, it adds fiery red lines on the body surface to increase the flame resistance of the Venom. The Golden Physique can also only increase the defense of the Venom, and it will not turn into gold, but when used, golden lines will appear on the body surface. Sikong Ye summoned the Venom armor, and cast the Flame Physique and Golden Physique, followed by Venom's black body covered with golden and red double color lines. At first glance, it looks a bit like Iron Man. However, the faces are very different, and it is easy to tell the difference between the two. The Bomb Physique allows Venom to have its own anti-armor. It can be regarded as the clone physique that satisfies Sikong Ye the most besides the rubber physique. Everyone, come with me, I've found some sparring partners for you, backquote. Sikong Ye withdrew the Venom and said to everyone except Makino. As for Makino, Sikong Ye is also struggling now. It must be impossible for him to send Makino back, and he finds it troublesome. And with Makino here, it would be nice to open a tavern on the Emperor Star in the future. Sikong Ye led the crew to go east and came to the edge of a cliff. From the cliff, you can see a beach. On the sea beyond the beach, there is a pirate ship docked on the shore, which is the large sailing ship of the Whitebeard pirates. On the sailboat, Marco and others were leaning on the side of the ship and chatting. When they saw Sikong Ye and others appearing, Marco and Saki immediately greeted each other with a smile. But Namur and Teach couldn't laugh at all. Namur himself has facial paralysis, so naturally he doesn't like to laugh. And Teach is purely depressing. Ever since meeting the Ziwei pirates, Teach has felt that everything is not going well. He thought that the dark fruit he got was just an oolong, and Marco was always on the side of the Ziwei pirates, which made Teach feel depressed. Accumulate more and more. Now that Marco wants them to be sparring partners for a group of kids, it's no wonder Teach is in a comfortable mood. The arrogant young man in the original book who likes to laugh, thief haha, and sits on the road and talks about freedom and dreams is still just a greasy uncle. Not only is he black and fat, but he also lacks several teeth. Without dark fruits Teach, I really can't see a little bit of sparkle. Xiao Yi, you are here. When Sikong Ye and his group walked down the cliff from a nearby slope, Marco and the others also jumped off the boat and walked over. He used to call Sikong Ye Xiaoyu, but now he calls Xiao Yi. Obviously, Marco has regarded the Ziwei pirates as his own. Brother Ma, I brought the crew over to receive special training. You don't know some of them, let me introduce you. After the two parties met, Sikong Ye briefly introduced the girls in the team. Seeing this, Sikong Ye thought, isn't this a good opportunity to clone Teach's special physique? At this moment, Teach suddenly spoke. Marco nodded, greeted the girls and introduced himself, then returned to what he had been curious about all day. After everyone dispersed, Sikong Ye immediately summoned the Venom armor. As the body turned black little by little, and then completely turned into a black and ferocious humanoid monster, Marco and the others were stunned. Seeing that what Sikong Ye displayed was indeed not dark fruit, Teach was completely disappointed. Therefore, when I met Sikong Ye early in the morning, I couldn't help asking. Maybe he still has a chance to persuade Marco to take down the Zwei pirates and obtain the secret that the other party can get a large number of phantom beast fruits. But from the bottom of his heart, he didn't think there was any devil fruit that could leave the host, so he wanted to let Sikong Ye expose his lies in public. Is this the zone phantom beast human fruit venom form? At that time, Marco will definitely think that Sikong Ye is a person who likes to talk big, and his impression will be greatly reduced. Is your venom fruit back? Similarly, his address has also undergone some changes, which is a signal of progressive relationship. Xiao Yi, didn't you say that your venom can be sold in body? Can you open our eyes too? Not only Marco, Sax, Teach and Namur were equally curious. Ever since he learned that devil fruit has autonomy and body, he has been curious about what the venom fruit looks like. Simply incredible. Okay, I'll show Captain Ma the ability of the venom fruit first. Sikong Ye said, telling his friends to stay away. Nanos. Chapter 125 Acquiring the Teach Physique, burying the killing intent in my heart. Put on the shelves and ask for a subscription to ask for a flower ticket. Want to open your eyes? No problem. Seeing that Teach was so cooperative, Sikong Ye frowned slightly, waved to Teach without hesitation and said with a smile. Fatty Black, come forward, I'll show you. When Teach heard the words, hey Fatty, he subconsciously wanted to refuse, and who knew if the other party would take the opportunity to plot against him. However, when he thought that it was proposed by him, and now he refused, he felt a sense of admission, and with Captain Marco by his side, there was nothing to be afraid of. He didn't believe that Sikong Ye dared to play tricks in front of Captain Marco. If Sikong Ye really dared to make trouble, he would have nothing to ask for, and just took the opportunity to reduce the impression points of Ziwei pirates in Captain Marco's heart. After figuring out the key points, Teach strode up to Sikong Ye, hugging his hands, with a gloating smile on his face. Xiao Yi, I want to see how your venom fruit is separated from the body. If you lie, I advise you to tell the truth now. Captain Marco will not care about your big words. But once you can't get the venom fruit out of your body, no matter how good-tempered Captain Marco is, he won't spoil you. Seeing Teach shouting, all the members of the Ziwei pirates looked weird. They naturally knew the captain's ability, so they never doubted it. Now seeing the fat black man Teach jumping out to question, they all speculated whether the guy's head was caught by the door. Not to mention anything else, just the scene of 060 Sikong Ye swimming in the sea yesterday is enough to prove the authenticity of the fruit. In the end, Teach insisted on jumping out, not to mention showing a wave of lower IQ, and was about to be slapped in the face. You don't need to worry about this, just stand where you were and don't move. Sikong Ye is too lazy to talk nonsense, he is now eager to clone Teach's physique. Putting his hand on Teach's belly, Sikong Ye ordered the venom to be transferred to Teach. Afterwards, everyone saw that the venom slowly transferred to Teach like a puddle of black viscous liquid. Sikong Ye quickly returned to its original state, and Teach was wrapped in the venom. After fine-tuning, Venom roughly adapted to Teach's body and began to shape it. The color is still conventional black, and the shape of the head is not much different. However, because Teach is too fat, the venom will appear even more bloated. Black fatty! Luffy exclaimed. The crowd was speechless, and the corners of the mouths of Marco and others who were watching on the sidelines twitched slightly. In the past, it was black history that Luffy named Teach, but now Teach has become a real black fat man. This black history may not be washed away in a lifetime. This feeling of power, BEFD. Teach didn't care about Luffy's exclamation, and devoted himself to the feeling the venom gave him. At this moment, he only felt comfortable, as if there was infinite power in his body, and an unparalleled sense of security. Puff puff. With several punches in a row, Teach hit a sonic boom directly in the air. Feeling unprecedented changes, Teach's ambition is constantly growing. Dark fruit can certainly carry his ambitions and dreams, but this venom fruit seems to be more suitable. He wished he could run away immediately with the venom and betray the Whitebeard pirates, but he knew that the real owner of the venom fruit was Sikong Ye, not him. Even if he ran away, he might not be able to take away the venom. At this moment, the killing intent in Teach's heart spread. Xiao Yi, does your venom fruit have other abilities besides possession? Hearing Teach's question, Sikong Ye would naturally not answer honestly. Venom can enhance various physical qualities after being possessed. In fact, Sikong Ye has already arranged for Venom not to try to manipulate the body, nor to expose a series of abilities including Dark Fruit. Therefore, what Bai Chi felt was the increase of various physical qualities. No more. Teach frowned. Having experienced it firsthand, he's convinced that Venom's capabilities go beyond that. But he couldn't try other abilities of Venom for a while, so he could only secretly despise Sikong Ye for not being able to develop Venom Fruit. If such a top Phantom Beast Devil Fruit falls into his hands, he can definitely develop the fruit to 100%. Seeing Teach's appearance, Malkasak and Namuel stepped forward to look at it one after another, and even couldn't help but touch it twice. It seems that the Venom Fruit is really out of the body, and it can still be attached to Teach. It's amazing. Sak sighed with emotion, and Marco nodded accordingly. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I would have thought it was some kind of monster that ate devil fruit and could inhabit humans. Hearing what Marco said, Sikong Ye guessed the nature of the venom on the spot, and couldn't help being surprised, but there was no change in emotion on the surface. You really can't underestimate the people of the world. As the think tank of the Whitebeard pirates, although Marco is not as good as Beckman and Crow, his intelligence must be at the top level. If it weren't for the fact that there are very few parasitic beasts in the world of One Piece, and the fact that the venom did not reveal any obvious autonomous consciousness, Marco would most likely be convinced of his point of view just now. Soon, Venom cloned, and then began to separate from Teach autonomously. Sikong Ye took the venom into his pocket with a light move. Because the attention was focused on the venom, he didn't notice the reluctance hidden in the depths of his eyes. Although Sikong Ye didn't notice, Venom did, and not only that, it also revealed Teach's thoughts after returning. Venom already has the innate ability to read the host's thoughts, and it is no problem to read the insidious thoughts of the Teach. Hearing the small report from Venom, saying that Teach wanted to murder him and take the fruit of Venom, Sikong Ye didn't slow down for a while. Good guy. He didn't expect him to take all precautions, hide the dark fruit, and hide most of the abilities of the venom, but he didn't expect that Teach just tried the night armor once and wanted to take it for himself. However, facing Teach's special physique, Sikong Ye had to clone it. Baoshan is right in front of you, how can you return empty-handed? In the final analysis, it is Teach who is greedy and has long had the heart of treason. If he doesn't hide the dark fruit, Teach will find ways to get his dark fruit. If he doesn't clone, Teach will still stare at his way to get the Phantom Beast Devil Fruit, and even if he clones, he still has to face Teach's greed. After drinking and pecking, some fate seems to be doomed long ago, and there is no room for relaxation between him and Teach. Venom, have you acquired Teach's special constitution? Back to the master. Fortunately, I successfully cloned Teach's physique, and can absorb 3 devil fruits. What? Sikong Ye's eyes lit up. Sure enough, it is not unreasonable for Teach to depict 3 skulls on his pirate flag in the original book. Obviously, Teach's special physique allows him to absorb 3 devil fruits.